Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast, late night edition. This is Mr. BDA with you, and as always with me, my co-host King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now listen guys, you know the drill. If you want to join us, go to Google Hangouts and email us instant messages via the email address on the bottom of your screen. That's boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That is boxingdebate@hotmail.com. First time users, I will be requiring an email address so I can send you the invite. It's a one-time only thing. After that, I don't ask for it anymore. But it's just so that I can send you the invite. And Bucho, I got a lot of things going on right now. Seems like every week something new happens, something exciting. And every once in a while, a couple of things that make you think about where the world is going. Very dangerous stuff. Right now, the UN just convened earlier today talking about Syrian chemical attacks. They're still pushing that story. They want to do something. They want to intervene. They want NATO to intervene. This is no joke, man. I mean, these people are...
Well, they need a war.
I mean, does the world... I mean, I don't want to sound like a hippie, but I think the last thing we need is more war.
Yep.
And that's not a joke. It's really not a joke. But anyway, we're not here to bring you people down. It's, 9 p.m. over here in jolly old Canada. And according to Cameron Gillen, it's 2 a.m. where he's at. I gotta ask Cameron, what's he always doing up at this hour?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, or is he stalking people in the streets? Because that's what I would do. If I could stay up till 2 in the morning going around stalking people, why not? All right, Bucho?
That's right.
All right, now listen. In terms of boxing, okay? In terms of boxing, pretty interesting news right now. It would appear that Anthony Joshua's team offered Deontay Wilder a $12.5 million flat fee to face Anthony Joshua. I mean, they offered that to Wilder, okay? Now, Team Wilder, according to Boxing Scene, is saying that they want to counter that. I'm going to put that up right there. Supposedly, it's a flat fee that Joshua offered. And Deontay Wilder's team wants to counter it. It's a take it or leave it offer, Wilder's co-manager Shelley Finkel told The Telegraph. We will respond appropriately in the next day or two with our counter offer. If Joshua is serious, we will take the fight. Deontay wants this fight. He doesn't want anyone else. All right, so Bucho, on the one hand, this is why people shouldn't run their mouths so much. You know, YouTube channels going on and on about who's avoiding who's scared of who in this whole Joshua Wilder's narrative storyline. I think, like I mentioned before in another video, neither guy, I don't think, is scared of the other. I don't think...
Yeah, all these people that were... Sorry. Now all these people that were claiming that that Joshua was afraid of Wilder, now they look stupid. Now, like, what's their excuse? All these videos that they made talking about how Joshua is scared. Now, what's happening here? All of a sudden, he's not scared anymore.
Yeah,
It's like you say, like, you should never play that. Nobody's scared of anybody. That's the thing.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like this whole thing about, oh, this guy's afraid of that one, that guy's nervous, that guy's anxious, he doesn't want to fight him, he's staying up at night thinking about the loss. No, it doesn't work that way. Now, like I said before, if there is gonna be any delay to this mega fight, it's gonna be because both guys want to get the most money out of it, or the best deal. Because I mean, think about it. Both guys are massive punchers, and anything can happen in a boxing ring. Deaths, injuries, career-ending injuries. So they just want to get the most out of it for one night of work. And I don't blame them. I mean, that's the way they're supposed to do. They're supposed to negotiate the best deal they can. But what we're talking about is all these people out there in YouTube land that love to fight about, oh, he's scared, he's avoiding. And now what? You know what they're going to say, right, Bucho?
What?
Oh, it's 12 million is nothing. He should be getting more.
Now they're going to start talking about money. These motherfuckers, they're the ones that didn't want to talk about money when it came to Josh and Wilder. Remember? Oh, no, forget about the money talk. Just make the fight happen, blah, blah, blah. Now they're offering 12 million to Wilder. If Wilder doesn't take it, then it's Wilder's fault for the fight not taking place.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so now the LDPC is going to talk about money and like, oh, it's 12 million is nothing. He shouldn't be taking a flat fee.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also contradictory to when they were defending what Mayweather was doing in offering a flat fee to Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They wanted Pacquiao to take the flat fee. Now they have to admit. Now they have to
admit. Yeah, go with the. They can't
go
change
with that Wilder has to take the flat fee now. Anyways,
they can't change the standards. But look, at the end of the day, we all want.
Well, they don't have any standards.
No, well, look, listen. All we want is a good fight. I don't care about what people say, but I'm just pointing out that at the end of the day, this is why you don't run your mouth about who's avoiding who's avoiding, because neither guy's avoiding the other one. I don't think. Like I said, if it doesn't happen this year, it's just because I want to try to get one last fight in there before they take that big risk. That's all. And also they're trying to negotiate other types of terms. It's not just the paydays. It's other stuff like where the fight take place, percentage of pay-per-views. Even I bet they're even fighting about little stuff like who gets to be in the blue corner, who gets to be announced first, that type of shit.
Yeah, who comes in first?
Mm-hmm.
Gets announced first.
Bucho, there's people joining us here at this hour of the night, so let's give a shout out to them. Shout out to Aiden Morrison. Shout out to who just made the baseball team apparently. He says I made the shortstop position for modified baseball. I don't know what modified baseball is, but let me tell you something. If modified baseball means that you're allowed to hit your opponent with a baseball bat, I'd be willing to watch that shit for sure. Rod T. Davis, good evening, gentlemen. He says, good evening, Rod T., who's probably out there smoking a big joint, playing the slide guitar. Mario G says, good evening, folks. Shout out to Mario G. The Punisher, shout out to The Punisher. Shout out to Kiwi Box. John Gonzalez. Liquid Sky, who I've never seen before, but shout out to him. He says, I'm in the UK and I can't defend this dumb offer. How is that a dumb offer?
Well, I don't believe in flat fees because you never know how much the pay-per-view is going to make, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So flat fees, I don't agree with the flat fee, but hey, if Wilder fans think that money shouldn't be an issue and just make the fight happen, then just take the fucking offer and make the fight happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, maybe Liquid Sky has a point if, depending on how much the fight makes and all that generates, because let's face it, if this fight generates a lot of hype, Wilder is also going to have something to do with it. You know what I mean? I mean, it wouldn't have this big hype if Joshua was fighting, let's say, Luis Ortiz or something like that. I mean, then again, you saw what Joshua, the type of hype that he was able to generate, not only in the UK, but over here as well, on the internet forums and all that, when he fought Parker. And Parker wasn't necessarily, and I said this till my voice was hoarse, but hold on, I said this till my voice was hoarse, that Parker wasn't even that good. You know what I mean? And that he wasn't going to make for an entertaining fight. And yet, the way they were hyping it up was that it was going to be this huge action, Castillo Corrales type fender bender, you know?
I don't know if they said that it was going to be that type of fight, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was two undefeated champions. It was a unification fight, so there was hype behind that. But I was going to say that, by the way, I heard that and I don't know if somebody in the chat can confirm this. The Showtime, we call the views,
Hmm.
weren't that great.
For what? For Ortiz or for Joshua?
For Joshua against Parker.
Uh-huh.
Maybe because it was a 5 p.m. I think it did a little bit less than Hurt against Lara,
Hmm.
or the same, but
I don't know.
that's not good either.
By the way, do we have Kiwi Box on the line?
You
Yep.
do.
All right, Kiwi, thanks for joining us, man. So what do you make of this offer? I mean, I know I don't want to haggle too much about money, but hey, it's because people were talking about money so much, I guess we have to address it now. What do you think about this offer? Is it a fair offer or what's going on here?
Which offer? There's so many different versions of this rumor going around.
Well, which ones have you heard?
I've heard there's a $15 million flat fee. I've
Mhm.
heard there's £12.5 million as a flat fee. I've heard lots of LDBC members saying there's a 12% of the fight revenue offer. So, you know,
Yeah.
I
don't
heard
know.
12 million, 12.5, something like that. That's all I heard.
Well, let's put this into perspective. Some people, like for example, Boxing Killers TV, shout out to Boxing Killers, says, no way is this $100 million fight. And then Rascalot, shout out to Rascalot, says, this ain't no $100 million fight. What the fuck? I don't know. I do think it's going to make a whole lot of money. Like John Gonzalez says, maybe not $100 million, but perhaps $50 million or over that. So I do agree then that Deontay Wilder should be trying to get the best offer possible. That being said, let's put things into perspective here. Okay, according to Boxing Nation, I don't know, what's it called, the website? Bloody Elbow. Deontay Wilder against Ortiz made his biggest payday at $2.1 million. Okay, so put that into perspective. He's generating a payday of $2.1 million in the United States, his native country. Joshua is doing way more than that. And if the fight takes place in England or whatever, maybe they're gonna try to get Wilder at 16 million or something. But look, the guy's not putting that many asses in the seats over in the United States. Talking about Wilder, and he's making 2.1 mil, and that's his highest payday. I think he might be a little bit out of his league here. I don't know. What do you guys think?
well, he's not bringing pay-per-view to the table.
Mhm.
He might be pay-per-view this time, but that's partly because he's fighting Joshua. He's never been pay-per-view in America, so he's not bringing that to the table. Sure, it's the biggest fight in the heavyweight division for sure, but I think around $15 million is fair, to be honest. Anthony Joshua's done all the hard work picking up all those belts, and Deontay Wilder's fought 38-year-old Luis Ortiz. What did he do? So
Right. I mean, Bucho, what do you think? Do you agree with Kiwi?
Yeah, I agree with him. But I also think, like, I was gonna just say that wouldn't it be smarter to marinate the fight? And I know we want to. I mean, like Kiwi says. I mean, this is the fight that everybody wants to see. It's the heavyweight, the fight that should take place as soon as possible. But looking at it from a business perspective, they could make more money if they marinate this fight. Because let's be honest, Wilder is not a huge star in the U.S. Joshua, like they said, he's like they said recently, his numbers on Showtime they weren't that great. So maybe put them on the same in the same undercard, in the same card or something like that, and start marinating the fight.
Right. Now, how much marinating are we talking about here?
Maybe like early next year. I mean, if they want to make more money, because let's be honest, they're not superstars, both of them. Like we just saw the numbers. Joshua in the US is not really well known, and Wilder, well, we know he can't even fucking sell in New York, in the US. So they're not ready for that fight. I mean, money wise,
Right.
obviously, for the heavyweight division for boxing fans, this fight is ready. I mean, it should take place as soon as possible.
In terms of ratings, how does Deontay Wilder do for Showtime?
Good question.
I have heard, I saw an article, should it be a couple of weeks ago, that said Deontay Wilder is actually costing Showtime money, and they want some money back out of him. So,
Wait. How is that? How is he costing the money? Like in terms of the production that it takes to put?
exactly, yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. I would have thought he was one of the biggest names in Showtime.
I would have thought so too, but
Where did
it
you?
was just an article I saw. It was on Boxing Scene.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to track that down because it does sound. I would have thought he was at least making some money. I mean, I don't know. The point is like Precise is saying that he shouldn't take the Wilder shouldn't take the flat fee. Is a flat fee essentially just another way of saying, listen, counter, send us a counter offer, and we'll see if we can step it up a bit. But it's almost like a little bit of posturing. You know, it's like we're going to offer you this much money. This is how confident we are in what you're worth, and we might raise it a tiny little bit, but we're in control here.
Well, will Showtime or Al Heyman even bother with the counter offer? They've never made an offer yet, have they?
No, but supposedly Shelley Finkel, who's Wilder's advisor or manager, I don't know what he is exactly. I think he was manager, but he said he's gonna send a counter offer.
Oh, that'd be nice. Could have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, he could have. But I mean, listen, these guys are playing around. I don't know what exactly it's
maybe in
the
background they are trying to marinate the fight until next summer.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe that's what Butcher said. He's saying let it marinate until the early 2018. Now, usually when Mayweather fights or when Canelo fights, they try to do these fights in May or in September, which are the Mexican holidays. When it comes to Joshua, Wilder, big heavyweight fights, non-Mexican holidays, does it matter what month it takes place, or is there a specific month where statistically it shows or it has been proven that they generate more pay-per-view buys?
Eddie Hearn seems to think he can make more money selling out a stadium. Unless it's a covered stadium, it's got to be in the summertime, especially in the UK. It's pretty damn cold. Yeah,
that's true. If it's outside. Butcher, what do you think? Is there a specific month that this fight should be made, or is that just having a little bit too much OCD in the house?
I have no idea when they plan to make it.
Well, there you go. I mean, listen, people in the chat room are going on and on about, they're going back and forth. Liquid Sky says it's a lowball offer. Precise Puncher says Wilder Showtime's ratings are almost 3 times of those of AJ. In terms of Showtime, yeah, but I mean, you got to take into consideration what the hell AJ is doing in the UK as well. Chris Gonzalez says 70-30.
Well, Wilder has been fighting in the US for a long time, though. I mean, I guess some people know him more than Joshua.
Mm-hmm. And apparently the ratings aren't even that great, so they're both in the US, they're both seems to be struggling. 70-30 says Chris Gonzalez would be insulting. 88-12 means they just want to stall. Yeah, I'm telling you, both of these guys, they just want to prevail in the negotiating
Wilder
table.
when Wilder says, "Oh yeah, I'll take the 60-40," and then he goes like, "But if I win, then I take 16 and Joshua takes 40." It's like so it ends up being a 50-50 fight, right? Like,
essentially, yeah. I mean, you get a say in what happens. By the way, we got Precise Puncher on the line.
Dependent upon how you interpret the data.
What's up with all the transvestites in Hollywood, though?
Because if you're a postmodernist and you don't have any standards, you're always going to keep moving the goalpost, and you're never going to stick to your own standards because you don't have any standards.
That's right. There's only one Precise Puncher, and don't you forget it. Precise, thank you for being on here. Always appreciate your input here. All right, so what's your take on this offer? I mean, I hate to talk money, but everyone's talking about it, and it does make a difference since everyone was talking about it. What's your take? Is this a lowball offer? I mean, what's going on?
Hello, everybody, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening.
Likewise.
I think it might be, if true, it might be what you're saying, an initial offer. Wilder's crazy asking for 50-50, so AJ is countering with equally as crazy of an offer, and hopefully they meet somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But flat fee, it's ridiculous. Give him what you think he's worth, and that'll motivate him to promote the fight, right? So that everybody gets paid more. If you just give him a flat fee, what's his incentive to push the fight, promote the fight?
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's a whole thing here with the. First, I can't believe we're talking about money here, but it has become a subject in and of itself when it comes to Joshua Wilder. Like I've said before, the fight's gonna happen, but then again, Precise, you don't seem to be too high on Anthony Joshua's how should I call it, Q rating? Is that the right term? His Q rating. You don't think he deserves the bigger share of the pie, or you don't think he deserves as much as he wants?
Oh no, he he for sure deserves the biggest share of the pie. But like Corruption was pointing out, the problem is with this transatlantic pay-per-view, right? Different time zones. I don't know, man. They got to figure this shit out. If the fight's in the U.S., you're not gonna get a lot of UK money. If it's in the UK, you're not gonna get a lot of US money as far as the pay-per-view goes. I do believe Joshua is the star, the bigger star. The fight should happen in the UK. But flat feet, no, that's bullshit. That's nonsense.
All right, so I gotta ask you, like, how much do you think would be fair?
Well, if Parker got 33%, I think thereabouts it would be fair for Wilder. 33, 35. I think you should treat him the same. Look, Joshua is only going to be able to fight bums so long before the UK casuals just fall off the bandwagon, man. They can only take so many bums. Joshua needs dance partners. Every pay-per-view fighter in the history of the sport always needed a dance partner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua can only fight these way overmatched opponents so long before even the most ardent casual catches on and stops buying this shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, Pacquiao and Mayweather, they could both milk it. They milked it for 5 years because they had, Pacquiao had Marquez that he could fight 3 times, 2 more times. Mayweather had Mosley, and then he had Canelo. But Wilder doesn't have another Joshua that he can fight, and Joshua doesn't have another Wilder. I mean, at what point do they if they keep fighting other opponents that are named Wilder or Joshua, how soon before we start seeing their pay-per-view buys decrease or their audience numbers decrease?
I think AJ's numbers have been going down since the Klitschko fight. That was a spike, but since then I think they've been going down. Don't quote me on that. And if there's been a drop, it's been a small one. But right after the Klitschko fight, I think his numbers dropped, and they've been going down ever since. The thing with this is that these guys are beatable, man. They're very beatable. Pacquiao and Mayweather, it was only really one or the other was going to beat. They could only beat each other, right? There really wasn't anyone out there that was going to beat these two.
Mm-hmm.
But Povetkin could beat either one of these two guys. I give Pulyev a good chance against either one of them. If Usyk moves up, he will school both of them, maybe get knocked out. You know what I mean? These guys, they don't have all this time to marinate, unless by marinate you also mean cherry pick in the meantime and vacate some of these titles. You know what I mean? Because Povetkin's right there. He wants a shot.
Now, Povetkin is Joshua's mandatory, right, for one of his titles or something like that.
2 of them.
Yeah, the WBA just ordered it. They gave him 30 days to negotiate, figure it out, or it goes to purse bid.
All right, so Kiwi, what do you think? I mean, how much should Joshua and Wilder split, considering that they both need each other? Like, realistically, what should be a good offer for both of them?
I think anywhere between 25 and 35% is decent or acceptable for Wilder. I don't expect he would take anything under 30%. But realistically, I think we're all kind of jumping the gun. I know it's the fight we want to see, but Povetkin being that mandatory and his team saying they're not going to take any step-aside money, he has to agree to step aside if this unification has to happen. So, I think that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a purse bid. AJ's going to have to go to Russia, and Povetkin's a strong contender. He could beat AJ. That could screw everything up.
Yeah, that could. Like Precise said, I mean, these are the heavyweights. One punch could end it all. And again, we could go back to Joshua not looking all that hot against Parker, but at the end of the day, both guys can just strike each other with one blow and end the whole thing. So, like I said before, I understand they both want to negotiate the best terms to get set up for life, but at what cost? Because they'd fight like you guys are saying, one punch, boom, it's over. So anyway, I mean, we gotta keep our eyes on this. We'll see what the counter offer is from Shelly Finkel or Al Heyman. But bottom line also, does Al Heyman let Wilder go to the UK, or does he try his darnest to get
He
Wilder?
doesn't care at this point. He only wants to get his percentage. That's it. He wants his cut. He doesn't care about the rest.
Mm-hmm.
If he digs his heels in and says you're not getting the fight unless you come to the US, they're not going to get the fight. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. I mean, look, I don't know. For example, the Fox Strike says a flat fee sounds. Oh shit! He already moved. All right, but yeah. So people are disagreeing with the offer. Some people are saying it's a fair offer. Canelo, Fox Strike says Canelo was offering Triple G 10 million. Chris Gonzalez says Boxing Kills TV. That makes too much sense. Boxing Style says send me a link. Bucho, Boxing Style is sending a link, or he's asking for a link.
Hold on.
All right. Well, is he even in the chat room, or? I mean, in the Hangouts. Is he in the Hangouts?
Good question.
Anyway, but yeah, that's what's going on with the heavyweight division, and I wouldn't even have paid it that much attention had it not been for this whole YouTube community thing. You know, talking about, certain members in YouTube talking about, oh, he's avoiding this guy, he's avoiding that guy. Josh was scared, Deontay Wilder's scared. I mean, everybody's scared, it seems, the way these guys painted. Fight's gonna happen. We've talked about it before. The fight is gonna happen. This right now, this whole thing, haggling over pennies, who's getting what, who's getting the percentage of the pay-per-view, blah, 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 it's gonna be meaningless once the fight happens or is actually signed. And I hope it's signed, because it would be a fun fight, or at least interesting, until somebody landed a fight finishing blow. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it happens, and if it doesn't, somebody else comes along. All right, another subject that I wanted to talk about. This big news, or big news for me at least. I didn't expect this at all. Manny Pacquiao will be fighting Lucas Matthysse without longtime trainer Freddie Roach. Details have not yet surfaced about, or at least I haven't read any details concerning why Pacquiao will no longer retain the services of Freddie Roach. Some people say it might have been bad blood. Some people say Pacquiao didn't like the way Roach trained him during the Jeff Horn fight. What do you guys think? Does this make a difference?
Has it not got a lot to do with Freddie Roach thinks Pacquiao should have retired after taking a loss to Horn?
Maybe. Again, I never heard exactly. What did Freddie Roach... Are you guys aware of what Roach said after the fight? After the Horn fight?
No.
Vaguely remember he was saying he thinks he should pack it in and he didn't want to train him anymore because his mind isn't completely on boxing anymore. Something along those lines. Don't quote me exactly though.
Well, I do remember.
Freddie Roach is shot, in my opinion, man. I think he's way past his prime.
You think he peaked a long time ago?
Look at it, all his fighters been getting their asses beat.
Yeah, maybe, man. I mean, the
Good
guy...
move. Good move by Pacquiao, I say. Go ahead.
Yeah, but is it a good move that he's going to stick to with Buboy? I mean, what the hell does Buboy know?
Buboy's been there with Pacquiao from day one, man.
But
he knows a lot about boxing.
Does he? Or does he know more about stuffing his face with rice balls than boxing? Both. Well, now we'll have to see. Again, you got to remember, yes.
But at this stage in his career, I mean, he's fighting Matthysse. I mean, I don't know how much he needs a world-class trainer.
I will say this about Pacquiao. Pacquiao, yes, Freddie Roach.
Yes. But at this stage in his career, I mean, he's fighting Matthysse.
Boxing Style, you got your mic on, man. You got you got your speakers on.
John.
Oh, John.
No, it's me.
It's John. Sorry. All right. John, thank you for being on. I just want to say one last thing. Want to say this about Pacquiao is that Freddie Roach changed his style. He's the one who added the wrinkles to his game, but that was a long time ago. Pacquiao, the fighter that Pacquiao is now, he can do things by himself. Now, yes, when it's a close fight, having a good trainer in your corner counts. It could make the difference in a fight. Like Precise said, Freddie Roach, we all know he's battling Parkinson's disease. Who knows how much time he's spending on the mitts with Pacquiao? Who knows how much time he's actually spending on the floor trying to make or coming up with a good strategy and all that. So maybe Pacquiao saw that Freddie Roach is slowing down and can't keep up with him anymore.
Do you think Michael Kongs will be in his corner?
No, Michael Kongs is going to be doing his laundry. And at the time, washing his socks. No, I mean, I don't know. Look, it's Pacquiao's 40 years old. I think he's been fighting since he was, 16, 17? So At this point, he doesn't really need a trainer, Bucho. Like you said, against Matthysse, it might not come to the point where he actually needs an experienced corner or trainer telling him what to do, because I think Pacquiao, even at 40, could still handle Matthysse. It's a fucking dangerous fight. I mean, Precise, I know you're a big Pacquiao fan. Are you a little worried that maybe Matthysse lands that big right hook of his and ends things?
No.
Okay, now let me
if
ask.
it happens, but I'd be worried about Matthysse, if anything.
Yeah, that's true. But Matthysse has looked a little bit vulnerable in the last couple of years. I got a question. Well, I'll ask John this. John, do you think Matthysse is the biggest puncher that Pacquiao has faced so far?
No, I don't think so.
Who would you say is the bigger puncher?
Oh, shit. Let me see.
Juiced up Marcus?
Yeah, I would. Well, from the knockout and the knockdown, yeah, I would say either him or maybe. No, I don't think Cotto, but
Margarito, man.
yeah,
But Mosley didn't come to fight.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, that's true. Mosley was too on the defensive. You know,
Margarito.
I would say Matthysse, man. I would disagree. I would say Matthysse. Margarito was never that big a puncher. He was more of a wear you down type.
Yeah.
Then again, he was huge.
He was bigger too. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was big, man.
Yeah, he looked huge against Pacquiao. That wasn't. Every time I remember when it happened, I had picked Pacquiao to win that fight. I thought he was gonna dart in and out against Margarito, and I said, when Pacquiao won, I wasn't that impressed. But then, as the years went by, I started looking at the fight and I said, man, he beat a guy that was huge and that was taking every shot he had to give. I mean, that was a good win. At this point, if Pacquiao beats Matthysse in impressive fashion, what does that do for his career? Does that do a lot? Does that do a little? Nothing at all? What do you guys think?
The welterweights will keep ducking him.
Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, is Pacquiao even active?
They want to make the Lomachenko fight after the Matthysse fight.
Oof. Man, that's a tough one right there. Pacquiao versus Lomachenko, because again, Lomachenko he's looking lightning quick, unstoppable. Pacquiao, though, experience, still hits hard. Bigger, I would think. I mean, it's all dependent upon how he looks against Matthysse. Let's see.
Does Lomachenko even want that fight? I know he doesn't want to. I thought I heard somewhere that he doesn't want to fight an older Manny Pacquiao. And by the way, he took his Ringondiao fight. It's like I don't think he wants to fight an older person.
Yeah, people are gonna say
out of his prime.
Yeah, people are gonna say he's going on a senior citizens tour or something, fighting a bunch of old people. But hey, listen, I don't see that many other people stepping to the plate. And by the way, we made a video about Gervonta Davis. Mayweather saying he wants Gervonta in against Vasily Lomachenko, and some people were saying, well, he's got a title, he should fight him. And I'm thinking, it's true that Gervonta Davis has a title, but come on, I mean, the guy. I think we can all agree that the guy is vastly underexperienced compared to Vasily Lomachenko. Because somebody's told me in the comments, he said, well, Gervonta has more professional fights or something like that. And I said, yeah, but against who? I mean, look at Lomachenko's resume and the type of performance he's been putting on. What's Gervonta Davis' best opponent? Pedraza? I mean, yeah, I like that performance. I like how he came to banged it out and stopped Pedraza, but he was getting tagged in that fight. I mean, are we seriously considering Gervonta Davis, who also happens to be a bit of a mental case, against a guy who's made undefeated people quit?
Why not? I don't
No, but it's pointless. But you said it's pointless, and we agree it's pointless, right? Like, we know who's gonna win. It's the fact that Gervonta Davis got a belt. That's why he had to fight Lomachenko, in my opinion, because he had a belt. But it's just because he had a belt. That's the only reason, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's kind of like asking Lomachenko to go up to welterweight because finally he'll get some competition. He's in the same weight class or thereabouts. Offer him the fight. I mean, if he doesn't want to take the fight, then he's a ducker. That's that. You know what I mean? But if you have a belt, you have a target on your back. You know what I mean? It's like if you're not willing to fight any and everybody while holding the belt, just give up the belt If you're telling us that you're a contender or a prospect or whatever, well, then be a contender, be a prospect. Once you got a belt, you're elite, and you should fight other elite fighters. If not, give the belt up. You know what I mean? Don't stop holding up the sport. Stop holding up the division.
Yeah, my point of view is Gervonta Davis doesn't have a title anymore. Titles are easy to get, or relatively easy. When he took, and the other thing is this: like, he's 23 years old, or 21. I think he's 23. That guy is a puppy compared to Lomachenko. Lomachenko's Olympic accomplishments, amateur accomplishments, pro accomplishments in under 20 fights. I mean, this guy's a phenom, and I don't see any rush to put Gervonta Davis in there. Like I said in the video, put Gervonta Davis in against Fortuna. I guarantee you he struggles against Fortuna. It makes no sense to push him this. I mean, he's under no obligation to fight Lomachenko. That's my assertion.
No one's saying he's under any obligation to fight him, but you know.
Well, that's the thing. I want to ask you this.
Didn't they admit he wasn't ready to fight Lomachenko? Somebody made that statement.
Mayweather.
It was Mayweather, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that should end the story there. Like, they admit he's not ready. So.
Yeah, but then now
when is he gonna be ready? When Lomachenko's looking like shit and he's fucking 40 years old, then he's gonna be ready. You know what I mean? Like,
that would be smart, man. That would be smart. By the way, we got Recognize the Matrix in the house.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
Yeah.
What's going on? I like that. Yeah, you should keep that permanently as my theme song.
Sensational.
Hi,
we'll
Matrix.
keep it.
What's going on, man?
Hello.
what's up?
Hello,
So I heard you
Recognize.
guys were talking about Gervonta Davis. I guess when is he going to be ready for Lomachenko?
Yeah, well, what's your take on that? I mean, should he stay away from Lomachenko as long as, I mean, he hasn't even fought a good southpaw yet.
When you're already fighting for titles, you know, you should be ready to step in and willing to fight guys like Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? The best of the best. If you lose, you know, maybe you learn something from it, you get better, and you come back from that. But you know, that's not what these fighters are in it for, right? They just in it to make some money, fight some guys that they know they could beat. Maybe wait till Loma gets about, you know, 35 years old, somewhere around there, and then he'll be ready for him.
Well, that's the argument that I'm hearing from you guys, that he has a title, which means he's elite. That's why I don't follow titles, because I don't think...
He doesn't have a title anymore, right?
That's right.
BDA?
Yeah, he doesn't have one. He moved up to 135 because he couldn't make 130 anymore, so he's titleless at this point. And then again, I mean, like, my biggest beef with this is that... by the way, there's a lot of clipping coming from you, Recognize.
Yeah. How about now?
All right, that's good. Are you walking down the street again, or what?
Yeah, I'm carless again.
All right. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Are you carrying a bunch of equipment with you or something, or what is it?
Yeah, that too.
By the way, have you guys ever seen that video of the guy that's climbing, who has to repair radio towers or TV towers? I think transmission towers.
Nope.
Man, he has to climb up a tower that's as big as a skyscraper, a stall, I should say, and he has no safety harness or anything. He's just doing a freestyle, the way they call it, and he's up there. And let me tell you something: going up is one thing; going down, that I have nightmares that I somehow I ended up there and I can't get down anymore. I watched that video, my hands start sweating. Fuck that shit. And imagine the insurance premiums this guy have to pay for going up there.
I carry like a 50-pound tool bag. You know, it's not that heavy, but when you're walking with it, you got to climb up some, you know, certain places. It could get heavy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you're getting your workout in, right?
Yeah, with this thing, hell yeah.
He's getting a complete core.
I'm used to driving, man. I can't deal with this shit.
First of all, who gets a car in New York? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, I don't live in Manhattan, but where I live at, you need a car. It's pretty far from everything.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, if you're in Manhattan, your driving must be a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I do night jobs, I'll drive in because it's
Uh-huh.
easier to get parking. The traffic's not as bad. So, but traveling at night by trains, yeah, that's bad.
Well, there you go. Living in New York, that's what it gets you. And I can only imagine what the subways must be like if you're traveling at 2 in the morning over there or at midnight. You must see a bunch of characters over there, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, really at any time, but especially at nighttime.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's fucking New York. All right. So getting back to boxing then. So we've established that Gervonta Davis has certain expectations of himself or for him that he should be in the running to take on Lomachenko, which is fine, you know. Hey, if he wants to walk through that fire and try to make a name for himself, the Lomachenko thing. But then again, that's why also what I don't like is when people start throwing names around and then they back off, which it makes you look. But that's why you should always either shut up or have a good promoter that's not gonna be yapping. Like for example, Parker's promoter. I don't know. Do you guys think he overstepped the line in the lead up to the Joshua fight, or did he stay within the bounds of hyping a fight up?
He did okay. I mean, he had to hype up the fight a bit, but he didn't say anything crazy.
All right. Yeah, I don't think he looked like he was on coke. By the way, I know we talk about coke all the time here, and it seems now since we started talking about people using cocaine, every time I see somebody on TV, I think they're on cocaine. I mean, Matt, what's his name? Max Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy.
Yeah.
He was getting grilled today by Congress.
He's not a robot, this guy.
Did you guys see that he was using a cushion under his seat to look taller?
Jesus.
Yeah, I think he used a cushion, like a 3-4 inch cushion. Now, listen, I don't want to make fun of anybody if they have a height inferiority complex or something, but you know, why not accept what you the way you are, you know? And he's using a cushion, and if I were him, I would say that I had hemorrhoids or something, and that's why I was carrying a cushion around.
Oh, before I forget, can we talk about what was it, Lou DiBella saying that he wants Lomachenko, Jesus Christ, Golovkin to fight Derevyanchenko right away.
He wants Golovkin to fight Derevyanchenko.
Because he's the WBA mandatory. Oh, well, he's gonna become the WBA mandatory.
Now, okay, who's Derevyanchenko?
The IBF. Shadow, one of those.
Okay, so Derevyanchenko is promoted by DiBella, right?
Correct.
But in reality, is he under the PBC umbrella?
I don't know.
Anybody know the answer?
Let's not get into that because we don't fucking know. But that's.
But it's important.
What do you think about that, though? Like,
it's not gonna happen.
But exactly, but it doesn't even make sense. The fact that DiBella is asking for this fight to take place like in a few weeks or what is it, a month?
Mm-hmm.
Less than a month? It's stupid, man.
Why would he do that to Derevyanchenko anyway? I mean,
doesn't the commission have to approve it as well?
Yeah, the commission would have to approve it.
They would have fucking approved it.
So what does he want? Like not a retroactive, I guess a retroactive like strip of.
He's just promoting his fighter.
Yeah, that's
finally, because he wants to pay the like Golovkin wasn't gonna fight Derevyanchenko. The mandate has not been called yet, so he has no case, honestly. And him pushing his own fighter, who's a really good up and coming, promising fighter, into a fight with the best guy in the division on 1 month's notice. You know, he doesn't seem to give a shit about his own guy. He just wants, to me, it seems like he just wants that payday.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at boxing scene here, and it says Golovkin has been training for more than a month to fight the toughest guy in the division. Says DiBella, what is wrong with switching to another conventional right-handed fighter who comes forward? How can he not be prepared for Sergey Derevyanchenko? And our guy is in the gym and ready to fight, so I don't understand any argument against him.
I'll tell you what's wrong with that.
Go ahead.
Not only do you have to clear it with Nevada State Athletic Commission, which would fly, no doubt about it, but you gotta talk to your sponsors, right? There's a lot of people involved in the promotion, and the reason why they put their money down and invested in the event is because it was a big fight, because it was a Mexican, right? You have someone like Tecate, you have these Mexican corporations investing in the event. They might not approve a Ukrainian fighter that no one's ever heard of. Like, people think that this is just like so simple. This is like, action figures on a fucking on the playground. You know what I mean? That's not how fights are made, and boxing fans just don't get how this shit works. Like, you gotta clear this by a lot of different people, sponsors being some of the most important factors here when
You
it
should
comes
have
to these
used
big fights.
you should have used the word people don't understand the nuances that go on in negotiating a fight.
And the minutia.
I mean, hey, those are good words, man. I'm not making fun of anybody here. But you're right. I mean, it's not as simple as taking some guy and putting him in there against another. Like you said, that's a perfect analogy, right? They're action figures. They're not a bunch of action figures. And people...
here's the thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but look, Derevianchenko has that IBF mandatory. That's not going anywhere. Why would you want to push your guy into that fight when you know your shot is coming anyway, and you could actually give him a chance to prepare? And Golovkin is going to be older. It just, DeBella, he just doesn't seem to care about his fighter's future.
And that's interesting because we had talked about this in another episode about how DiBella, and I haven't found the article yet. I have my magazines here. I could look for it right now, but there's too many. But that DiBella in one specific article had talked about how, I think it was 2006, 2007, he was talking about how close he was to his fighters and that he didn't want to just be a promoter. He also wanted to be essentially friends with his fighters. Now, some 10 years later, it appears that he has gone full circle and become company man. Then again, you have to put yourself in his shoes. Who knows how much money he's spending or he has spent so far out of his own pockets in order to be a promoter, and how much he's lost in the past. But I mean, throwing a guy...
The boat payment's due.
Was that?
The boat payment is due.
Yeah, the boat payment, the mistresses probably. I mean, listen, I'm just speculating. I'm not saying I don't even know if he's married, first of all. But the point is this. We're talking about Gervonta Davis. Is it fair to ask Derevianchenko to be in there against Golovkin? Or if he wants to fight him, hey, then by all means, go ahead. Put him in there against Golovkin.
Yeah, I think with Derevianchenko, he doesn't have that kind of thought process like a Gervonta Davis. He would take the fight. Probably feels that he's ready now. But going back to what Precise was saying, like the sponsors and this being a Mexican holiday, I don't understand how people would think this would just be accepted like that. You got a guy from the Ukraine versus a guy from Kazakhstan and the West Coast. It's
that's
not that easy. You know what I'm saying? They would probably want a Mexican guy in there.
Yeah, that would have been preferable. Somebody
Latino
a big
background. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would have been preferable. Putting in there a Mexican or something. At the end of the day, too,
I don't think Mexicans care, man.
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't care. And there's a lot of Golovkin fans that are Mexican, so they wouldn't care. Maybe they would prefer Golovkin against Derevianchenko than Golovkin against some Mexican bomb that nobody knows about.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
there's some Mexicans that consider Triple G more Mexican than Canelo, actually.
It's possible.
It's at this point. Yeah, sure. Why not, man?
It could be. I don't know, man. I saw a lot of Golovkin fans, Mexicans that were rooting for Golovkin. I saw a lot of them in the first fight in the press conferences, in the second one. So, yep, you might be right. There might be more. Golovkin might have more fans. Who knows?
That's true. It's hard to quantify right now. But the impression I get is that there's, like Precise calls them, the Canelitas. They're always out there rooting for their man, no matter what he does. But for Mexican fans that happen to be boxing fans first, I don't know how they feel how they all feel about Canelo or Golovkin. And by the way, Recognize was talking about fighting on the West Coast and all that. Here in boxing scene, they're talking about that maybe they'll change the location of the fight from Vegas to Los Angeles.
If you put that fight, the Drevenchenko fight in New York or Jersey, something like that, that would, I can see that, and it would, on short notice, still probably sell a lot. But the West Coast, that might be a bit of a hard sell. And remember this, I'm sure there's money invested in that fight with Golovkin.
Now that's interesting because
exactly how that works, but it just seems geographically, if you're gonna do that, maybe I'm saying this because I'm being selfish and biased. Put it over here in New York in the Garden.
So now we're getting to the bottom of the story. You just want to go to the fight. That's why you want it in Jersey or whereabouts of New York. No, but you know what? That when Golovkin fought Marco Antonio Rubio in LA, he did pretty good numbers. And in terms of attendance, I think he sold out over there. Then again, he was fighting a Mexican, but nevertheless, I do think it was who came up with the term Mexican style. Was it a Mexican guy or?
I think Abel Sanchez.
I think it was Abel Sanchez. Well, there you go. But yeah, look, I think at this point Triple G is a big name. But yeah, pay-per-view wise, he might not be selling out. He might not be a box office megastar. But in terms of yeah, no one is. But in terms of attendance, he's proven that he can fight on both the West and the East Coast. And, when Cotto was another big name, never really quite a pay-per-view star by himself. But when he fought Kameda over in the West Coast, he was able to attract good numbers because boxing fans over there knew who he was and they wanted to see him fight. So I think Golovkin should be able to do good attendance numbers wherever he fights at this point. But then again, he can maximize that by taking on a decent opponent. And that Mexican guy that they wanted to fight, I didn't even know who he was. That would have been... I mean, look, Golovkin is one of the...
right?
Was that?
Mungia?
I don't even know the guy's name. I don't even know what he's... Mungia.
Yeah, I think it's...
Carpet Mungia?
Super welterweight that was... he's undefeated, but he's like really young. I think he's like
21.
21, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, come on.
Jeez, come on.
I mean, that's manslaughter.
Yeah, that would be manslaughter. And by the way,
it's funny how they don't want to sanction that fight, the Las Vegas State Athletic Commission, because he's 21 years old, doesn't have no experience, but they fucking give a license to Conor McGregor to fight Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, Conor McGregor gets a license, but I don't know.
Good thing that's the other thing. I mean, we talked about this before about Nevada. The fight's off, the rematch is off, but they're gonna make it down the line, or they're gonna try their hardest to make it, because it's a big money boost for the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the whole state of Nevada. So they're gonna try to push that fight again. Like I said before, I lost my interest in that fight as soon as a clenbuterol test hit, the positive test, and now if it happens, the only way I could get back to that giddy state of waiting for that rematch is if they allow Golovkin to juice himself. If he's allowed to take whatever he wants, designer drugs, whatever, and he comes in looking even more shredded than because he's never really looked that ripped, but if he comes in looking like a 25-year-old, I'd be willing to watch that fight.
Or if they test Canelo during the summer.
Yeah, but even... who knows if he's still doing something and they're just not catching it, You know how flawed these tests are.
He's not being tested right now.
Yeah, he's probably not. He's probably... God knows what he's doing right now. He's probably in the gym right now, deadlifting 500 pounds. That's how...
What's taking, going back to the Golovkin fight, what's taking so long to, name an opponent? I don't understand. It's
well, it's like Precise said, it's not just like changing action figures in a play.
I agree. No, I totally agree with that. But I thought they would... I guess, Spike O'Sullivan was like the name that I keep hearing. Not that he's a great opponent, but if it's gonna be him, then just let everybody know it's him already.
Right,
maybe
exactly.
It's just the venue. They're just looking for a venue, I guess. That's possible.
Yeah, maybe. That's the other thing. They're
they're not gonna announce a fight without knowing which venue it's gonna take place.
Absolutely.
In, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's all speculation. We don't fucking know anything.
No, I agree. I agree with what you said. Oh shit! Sorry about that.
Jesus.
Oh,
Marty Roshan's name is being thrown around too.
Oh yeah.
Marty
Yeah,
Rose.
I saw. I was that came up in my.
I heard that one got
Google
denied too as
feed.
well.
Oh, he did. Okay, well, so
Yeah.
much for that.
What happened there?
Who got denied? What?
Yeah, who got denied? I
Marty
can hear.
Roshan. I think you said Marty Roshan got.
Oh, Marty Rosen.
Well, what do you mean denied? Like who denied him? Like
Or the commission, they didn't sanction it, or they didn't want to.
why not?
I don't know. That's just what I heard.
You know why, right? Because
Why?
he's of Armenian descent, and if he comes in and he wins, let's say he wins or something, or he goes on the mic and starts talking about the Armenian genocide, he wants the U.S. to recognize the Armenian genocide, it's gonna be a lot of trouble for Nevada, so they didn't want that to happen.
You know, genocide is people back in the days. You know?
Exactly. No, but you know what? I don't know about what you guys think, but I think Marty Wilson, between realistically, if it was between Marty Wilson and Spike O'Sullivan, I would rather see Triple G in against Marty Wilson because at least Marty Wilson can move a little. You
Yeah,
know,
well, he's moving up in weight. And
boxing style in the chat room says, "Hey, I'm Armenian." Well, yeah, if you're Armenian, wouldn't you like that for somebody to go up in front of
Prove it.
everybody and get the American government to accept that there was a genocide? Come on.
people in the chat are saying that they have trouble hearing the Matrix.
Well, the Matrix is all around you, so how can they have?
Can't see the Matrix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you gotta keep in mind. Recognize right now is I think he's working or he's walking up and down the street, so he doesn't
I'm
exactly.
actually walking into. You're gonna hear me better. I'm actually walking into the site right now.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm in the street, so.
Right.
Are
Right.
you selling Lucy's, bro?
What the hell is a, what is that?
No, four cigarettes for $1, man.
That's speed.
Oh, that's speed. I didn't
That's
know.
why my bag is so heavy.
God, don't get choked out.
Yeah. Yes. If you see,
Is it better?
what's that?
Is it better now?
A little bit. You were breaking up a little bit, but I think that's the connection, not necessarily your vote. Kachnelli, give me my fight says, come on, Vanis, the guy's 154. What a joke of fight.
No, man, no.
So that's my question
I
to you
rather
guys.
he fights O'Sullivan. He's a middleweight, tough guy, not a lot of skills, but I think he'll put up a good fight.
Look,
Like,
Triple G got fucked in this fight. He got put in this position. It's not his fault. They can't find anybody right now at last minute. Would you guys have been willing? Let's say, I know it's a big if, but let's say if Chavez had somehow been in shape for this fight, to take this fight in last minute, which I know is impossible. Let's say it would have happened. Would you guys have been looking forward to that fight a little bit?
Yeah.
With Chavez Jr.?
Yeah, Chavez Jr. versus Triple G.
Yeah, just
Why
so
not?
that. Just
Yeah,
so
see if he
Chavez,
knocks him out, you know?
Yeah, I want to see Chavez
think
Jr.
that-
get the fuck beat out of him.
Yeah.
He's an embarrassment to his dad, dude. That's just. I mean, I feel bad for Chavez Sr. I mean, so why not see his ass get kicked by Triple G? That'd be cool with me.
He's
It'd be
durable.
nice to see. I wouldn't care what weight he comes in. I'll let him come in at 190 and be like, yeah, that's good. Just put it in the ring.
Could place a bet, like when is Golovkin gonna knock him out, or can Chavez Jr. survive the whole 12 rounds? I mean, that would be interesting.
Yeah, well, have you seen that video? That you must have seen it, right? That 2011 sparring video between Golovkin and Chavez Jr.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Chavez. I mean, I know it was 2011, but Chavez Jr. hasn't really changed all that much, while Golovkin has since 2011. He was like, Golovkin wasn't even going hard, and he was snapping Chavez Jr.'s head up with uppercuts and just like if he could have stepped it up, and he could have put a serious hurting on Chavez Jr. And when I saw that, I said, nope, Chavez Jr.
He was snapping his head back with probes.
Yeah, exactly that too. And it's like, nah.
Crazy.
Could you imagine what Golovkin would do with 10-ounce gloves? It would be murder, man. Absolute murder. But then again, John would probably enjoy that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, man. But I don't think a lot of Mexican fans would appreciate him fighting Chavez Jr. just by the fact of Chavez Jr.'s last performance. You know,
Mexicans don't.
down.
I don't. Well, I don't know. I haven't talked to. I don't have my pulse all that much on the vibe that's coming out of Mexico, but I don't think they would care about Chavez Jr. I think they've had enough of Chavez Jr.
Yeah, I don't think they would want to buy that fight or see it.
Nah, they don't care.
So again, Golovkin is in a hard position here, between a rock and a hard place. He really can't. I mean, I would love to see him fight a credible opponent. You know, maybe one of the top 10. By the way, Charlo is saying that he
God.
wanted that fight. I mean, I know, but I'm just telling you what I heard on or read rather on Boxing Scene. I'm gonna put that here. He says because now apparently the WBC is okay. Charlo's coach, apparently Charlo's coach says Ronnie Shields, trainer of top middleweight contender Jermell Charlo, says that his boxer was ready and willing to fight Gennady Golovkin, but the World Boxing Council told him to wait. Last week, Canelo withdrew, blah, blah, blah. Charlo is the mandatory challenger to Golovkin's WBC title. The thing about Jermell, he's already the mandatory, but since Golovkin and Canelo were supposed to fight in a rematch, they told us we had to wait until after the fight to fight for that belt. We didn't want to sit back and wait a whole year before we got back in the ring, so we decided to take another fight before that to try to keep busy, Shields told on the Ropes Boxing Radio. So there you have it.
Yeah, apparently today the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF, their presidents had a conference call to decide what's going to happen with Golovkin, how it's going to work out.
And how is it going to work out?
I have no idea what's today, and I haven't read anything. They haven't released any information.
Charlo's coach calling out and saying he wants the fight right now. It's like me saying I want to fight Precise right this second, and he's in another country. It's like this is stupid. It's like
it's called. Yeah,
I think he's just promoting his fight coming up.
What he cares? Who cares about that fight? You think about it. It's oh man, the superstar. Fuck, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean
Can you make 175 recognized?
I guess you're the A side, right? So about 218 right now.
Oh, I got this. I got this.
Wait.
Easy work.
Hey, he's Precise. Are you that willing to get a fight last minute that you would be willing to fight Recognize?
Hey, if the money's right.
If the money is right, that's what it always comes down to. The money.
All about money. But no, it's just like it's these call outs are dumb. They're like, saying I'm willing to fight him right now, knowing that they're not going to get the fight is just.
Lara used to do that a lot on Twitter. Every time Golovkin had a fight sealed and done, he would show up on Twitter and call out Golovkin. It's like, come on, man.
That was Willie Suarez. That wasn't really.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh, that was his.
That was that guy. What happened to him?
Handler.
Wait, who's the Cuban guy? Was that him though? The one who also wrote a lot of shit for Rigon down on his Twitter.
He's nursing a broken heart, bro.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about the fat guy that's always next to all the Cuban fighters translating and all that?
No, we're talking about Boxeo Cubano.
Yeah, that guy. He's bald, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, he has a YouTube channel, but
exactly, and a radio show, a podcast.
Well, listen, I gotta give it up to Lara to. He tried to hang in there against Jared Hurd. God damn! I mean, that Jared Hurd is just too big, and now him and Jermell Charlo are getting, again, as expected, they're getting into a bit of a war of words here about who's gonna beat who, and Charlo's saying, "I'm gonna put you to sleep." Look, I know Charlo's a better technician in there than Jared Hurd, but putting Jared Hurd to sleep is gonna take a sledgehammer because this guy is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Again, we talk about that, we've talked about that subject. The fighters, it would be better if they kept their mouths shut and actually just did the fighting with their fists, but he's digging himself a bit of a hole here and it might get too deep after the fight. So, but I don't know what do you guys think? Are you excited excited, but I mean, would you be looking forward to a Charlo versus Hurd fight if it happened?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Charlo Hurd, yeah. Either one I'm looking forward to. Either Charlo.
Now here's my question.
Go ahead.
Well, the other question was, who's the better Charlo? Because I know they always talk about the one at 160 being better, but they both have about the same resume in terms of competition, in terms of performances. Which one is the better Charlo, you guys think?
I think it's the bigger twin, Jamal.
And based on what, on the performances or the opposite, you think he's faced one guy that's better than anybody that
he may. Well, okay, there's Julian Williams, the knockout of him, and who was
Trout.
Who was the smaller Charlo's best friend? Can't think of it right now. What was that guy that was like
K9?
No, come on. No, he was. No, forget about Erickson Lubin. That's not him. Vanis Martirosyan, maybe.
He didn't win that fight.
Come on.
And even if he did, like, it was a shitty performance, so I wouldn't class that as a good win.
Right.
Even if you did give him the
that
fight.
Lubin kid was his best win. I mean, that's not a great name, but that's his best. Where he looked his.
Vanis has been exploited. Vanis has been exploited by the PBC. Let's be honest.
Well,
he's there to like get robbed and shit.
Right.
Yeah, he's an opponent.
And he's complained about it too, right?
Yeah, you could have made a case for him in both the Lara fights.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised, not because I'm looking at Vanis's resume, and we were talking about how the commission declined him or denied him a shot at Golovkin. I think I understand why. The guy hasn't fought since May 21st, 2016, when he lost to Erislandy Lara in a rematch. So I can understand why they denied him. Is him not being active anymore because I think he badmouthed the PBC. Is this their way of punishing, do you think, or what's going on with his career? Just mismanaged?
I think he was trying to leave. He was trying to sign with a different promoter, and was kind of disillusioned about boxing for a while. Not sure if he wanted to keep fighting or not, you know. So, just kind of been laying low.
I don't know if he has the type of money to be laying low, but it's a shame because he's a pretty good fighter. I don't know if anybody's seen his fight against Timothy Bradley at the amateur level. Pretty interesting fight. It's on YouTube, I believe. Let's go to the chat room real quick and see what people are saying. Boxing Killers TV says Canelo Alvaroid wins. The Shepherd of Sun says Vanis was Jermel's best opponent. Reese Max says maybe Lubin. Juan Pacheco says Hurd looks like a comic book hero. Hair, tats, superhero comeback win. Late love dude. Love the dude, he's saying. The Shepherd of Sun says Hatley is Jermel's best opponent. LOL. The Fox Strike says Vanis is his best win. It's his best opponent. The Shepherd of Sun says that Vanis beat Lara. I don't know if he's talking about the first fight or the rematch. Hurd's style is an easy pick, says Casey Robinson, for a slick boxer. Brook beats Hurd. Brook beats Hurd. Come on, guys. Guys, what do you think about that? Yeah.
Ooh. I'm gonna say no at this point, but that would be a good fight. I would say that would be a good fight. Depends on his eyes, right? Like he got eye problems these days, so
that's a good point. The eye.
The edge to beat him.
I agree,
Brook
but
is a big puncher at 154, man. He's a big puncher.
Yeah, you see, if he's having no issues making weight, which you would think fighting at 154 wouldn't be a problem for him, and that punching power, he's catching if he's catching Hurd with the same kind of punches Lara was catching him at certain points of that fight, it's gonna be a big difference.
Yeah, well, I mean, fuck, man, I'm torn between that because on the one hand, Errol Spence was able to walk through Brook. On the other hand, Brook was fighting at 147, and like Precise said, maybe a natural Brook, meaning a Brook that doesn't have to boil himself down, could actually hurt Hurd. But I don't know. I mean, Hurd just looks way too big, man. I was rewatching a little bit of the Lara fight, he looked huge in there.
Dude, he looks 180. You can't tell me this man is like less than that. No way.
Exactly. The eye test does not lie. It just does.
Yeah.
It's not.
He
It's
looked
not.
like Danny Jacobs against Golovkin.
Yeah, bigger at a certain point.
Yeah, I thought it was worse, man. I thought it was worse,
What's he
and
taking? I wonder what he's taking now.
probably taking
Because come on.
elephant steroids or something. I don't know. I don't even know if such a thing exists, but if it does, he's taking it. And let me tell you something else. I was like, I paused on the Hurd versus Lara when they were facing up before the fight in the ring, before the bell rather, and I was looking at it because okay, let's see. I said maybe Hurd is just taller, and that's why he looks big or whatever. But no, he looks. Lara doesn't. Lara's not a small guy himself. He's pretty. He's packing some muscle. But Jared Hurd looked. Not only did he look a little bigger in terms of muscle, but he looked taller as well. So when you're the same, because if you're fighting a guy and you got 3 inches on him, chances are you're gonna look emaciated or something. You're gonna look thinner. This guy doesn't look thinner. He looks about the same, if not stronger, than his opponents, and he's tall. So
And the head.
and that big ass head of his too doesn't help.
Yeah, I think just the size of the head, compare him to Lara, it just that head, the head comparison screams of a guy who's 2 weight classes at least bigger than his opponent, if not more. Naturally.
Exactly. And
Naturally.
that freaking head of his, man. It's you go to the Easter Island, and you see those heads they have there buried in the grass. It's the same thing. Jared Hurd has an Eastern Island head. It's a big head made of concrete and elongated and unnatural looking. Big head.
Yeah.
Maybe you know what? But maybe because of that big head, that's why he's so smart and he found a way to dry himself to 154. By the way, is that theory of measuring intelligence by cranium size, is that outdated, or am I still living in the 1900s here?
It's controversial. Some people think it makes sense. Some people. There's definitely brain size and cognitive ability are definitely related when it comes to comparing different species. I'm not sure if they are when it comes to just people.
By the way, Apology Man says that head screams human growth hormones. If you're taking, we've talked about human growth hormones in the past, but I think you've mentioned it. If you're taking human growth hormone, does your head keep growing as well, or it's everything?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Holy moly!
Well, look at Barry Bonds. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware of him, like the baseball player. He was involved in that Balco scandal with Victor Conti, and he was 30. I think he started taking it. If you go by the book, it's called Book of Shadows. He started taking steroids or human growth hormones at the age of 35, and he was 6'1", right? He was listed as 6'1". By the time he was finished taking the human growth hormone, he grew a full inch in height. That was because of his head.
That's interesting. Yeah. Didn't they say by the way that he had to change cap sizes or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Holy shit!
Everything grows, bro. Everything except
now,
your penis.
Imagine your.
Oh fuck. That was gonna be my question. Does your penis size grows as well? If it's I'm gonna have to discontinue using HGH now. Now that you mentioned that,
I'm not gonna even start.
You should.
What were you gonna say, Precise? You should what?
No, I won't go there. I'll save it for another time.
Yeah, save it for another spicier or more salty episode. But yeah, okay. So
I'll wait till Hamed is back on.
By the way, Hamed said he was stretching the other day. It sounded like he was doing something else, man. The other day where he went, oh, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man?
Killing roaches, probably.
Okay, that makes no sense, man. What you just said, but
He was making a whole bunch of noise.
Yeah, he was eating Skittles the other day as well.
Ahmed's accent is perfect. What is that? Is that recognized? Is that I don't understand it.
I was just gonna say that I think that okay, I'm getting instant messages. No, I like Hamed.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
we're just teasing. Listen, if I'm gonna make, if I shouldn't be making fun of people's voices, man. First of all, I'm not making fun of people's voices, and second of all, if anyone shouldn't be making fun of people's voices, it's me, man. I sound like a fucking retard half the time. Actually, I'm being generous more than half the time. But anyway, look, I want to I want to switch a little bit to UFC talk here because I'm looking at again Bloody Elbow, and it says Dana White has mutual respect with Conor McGregor. He changes his tune on the boss attack. So in other words, he's trying to say that he's in good graces with McGregor. Now here's my thing, because I was reading the comments again about what people were saying, and again I wasn't in the most sophisticated of message boards, so let's not judge every McGregor fan by what I read. But there were a lot of people that were praising McGregor for what he did, and they were saying, "Oh, that's he's a man. He's defending a member of his tribe." First of all, when you start using the word tribe, I don't know where the hell you're coming from. Second of all, this is my question to you guys, because we're men here, right? I'm guessing. I don't wanna assume your I don't wanna assume your gender or anything. Maybe you're transitioning, or maybe you're genderless, whatever. But I mean, we all want. It's good to have friends that are gonna jump on, to defend you, because that's what happened essentially. Apparently here with McGregor, Khabib slapped one of his friends, and that's why McGregor went on a rampage. So it's on the one hand, it's admirable to have a friend like that. On the other hand, we do live in a society where there's rules and regulations. You can't just go around destroying property and trying to assault people. So I mean, I'm curious to get your guys' take. I mean, did McGregor do something wrong, do something right? What's your take on this?
I think it would have been more manly if he would have waited for him to get out of the bus instead of, throwing shit at the bus, letting him have an escape.
That's a good point.
Fucking,
I don't know. I don't think that was the
That's what I
smart
would've
thing
done.
to.
Apparently, this Khabib guy, a lot of people think that he'll beat McGregor. I don't follow this. I have no real knowledge of who's who and who can beat what guy. But like talking to my brother who follows the MMA very closely, he's like, Khabib will beat him. He's like, he's convinced. It's like, yeah.
MMA is probably the least predictable sport out there, man.
That's true. It can end with one punch.
Dude, that's a street fight. I don't care what anyone says. That's a street fight.
Yeah.
It's as close to a street fight as we can get.
Yeah.
Just real quick, people in the chat agree. Their take on McGregor is that he was fucking childish and he ruined his reputation by doing this. But going back to the McGregor thing, or the UFC rather, I don't like Precise said, quite unpredictable. Extremely unpredictable, because it could all end with one submission, or it could end between a minute. One guy lands one punch with those little ass gloves. You can't roll with the punch as well as you can in boxing, and it's good night Johnny. But when it comes to McGregor defending his pal for doing this, I don't know. Again, you know what? I don't even know if we should be discussing this, because Vinny Paz of the hip hop group Jedi Mind Tricks, he thinks this is all a show. He thinks it was all staged, and Boxing Style in the chat room believes that as well. He says, "Oh, it's all staged." What do you guys think? I mean, it looks that way.
It's staged. They use it to promote the event. Come on.
But
you gotta look at Dana White too. He takes inspiration from Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon's a great showman. So there you go.
But here's my question regarding that. Like, what would be the logistics of pulling something like that off? Because he still has to go to court. I mean, do you think the UFC has something arranged with the court so that they don't punish McGregor, or how do they get through that?
They could pay off the
Just drop the charges. Just drop the charges.
But who's charging him? Is it the state of New York, or is it somebody else?
Bus company, maybe the building owners. You know what I mean? A whole bunch of people.
Some fighters.
The people affected. Yeah, they could all just drop charges. And how does Conor McGregor tossing that dolly at the bus unslap? Speaking of defending, how does that unslap Lobov, or whatever the guy's name was? You know what I mean? Like, how was he defending him when the dude already got slapped?
Exactly.
Like, that's not.
Yeah, he just wanted revenge. I guess he wanted revenge, but like John said, why not wait until he's out of the bus? Like, why go? Like, what was he expecting?
why not let a grown man take care of his own business? Like, I would be insulted if somebody like did that for me. I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? I could handle myself."
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Exactly.
be mad if somebody smacked me instead of punching me in my face. I mean, getting slapped is like the ultimate. To me, is the ultimate insult.
Yeah.
Having another man come up to you and smack you in your face.
That's true. You know what I would have done? I would have said to Khabib, if he would have done it to me, I would have said, you know what? I don't appreciate that type of behavior, and I would expect an apology. That's what I would tell Khabib. I think that would work.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it. By the way, people in the chat are saying and telling us to move on from this, but I want to stick to this just a couple of more seconds because some people are saying that the theory that this is all staged goes out the window because there was a guy talked. What's his name? Fuck, that this is moving too fast. Oh yeah, there was a guy named Mike Chiesa who was in the bus, and apparently he's cut. And I'm trying to look for some information regarding that. But you know, so, there was another fighter apparently that's complaining that he got a cut, and that he has a cut inside the eye. And I saw the picture, and I don't know about eye injuries, so I don't know how bad it was. But he had a little bit of a boo boo in his eye, and now he's saying that it was very, very serious. So I don't know. Look, listen, like people are saying here, he's taking his Dana White is taking his cues from the WWE, you know, trying to make this.
Staged. It
Yeah,
was staged because Dana White condemned it and then played it on his official UFC. He has the whole video on that official Twitter page.
yeah, that was
How
Bucho's.
you going to condemn something and play the whole video on your official site?
Exactly. That's Bucho made the same argument. You know, it's like it's you know what it smells
That's
like.
where I
It's
got it from. I got it from Bucho talking about it before.
yeah. I mean, to me, that behavior smells like, you know, those people that are in the when somebody crashes a bus or something and there's fatalities all over the place, and you see the newscaster going, "Oh, we have some very somber news. This evening, 25 people died." And then when the cameras are off, they're like, "Fuck, this is great, man. How much do you think we can milk this for? Do you think we can get another segment out of this? 2 segments? Perfect. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, 2 babies died in the bus as well. Fantastic. Let's talk about that." You know, that's the way it smells like to me. Dana White is probably having a perpetual hard-on after this happened. No, the UFC. If McGregor gets mentioned, the UFC gets mentioned, and that's business right there. That's advertising. You want your name out constantly in the mainstream media. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with Recognize and Bucho. I mean, how can you condemn what McGregor did and then you put it in your fucking app? I mean,
it's like you know, me saying, you know, I don't take no pleasure in talking about sleeping with some girl, but then I videotaped it and I put it up in my my Twitter page for everybody to see it.
well, are you saying that's wrong?
No, I'm saying it's just me contradicting myself. Wouldn't that be just? I condemn it, but I want I want everybody to watch it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's exactly a situation of that sort. Now, let me tell you something else, though. You would put it online or whatever and be proud of it if you were proud of your performance. I mean, I know when I performed, and it wasn't for that long, by the way, but I didn't take any type of medicine, any type of stimulants. It was all BDA. Let me tell you that much right now.
Are you getting into the Hall of Fame, man?
No, not even close. Not even close. But I did pretty good, you know. Like if you want to put it in boxing terms, I was a journeyman. You know, I went where they called me, and I put in some good perform. I got robbed a couple of times. Let's just put it that way. But I did the job I did, and I'm proud. Yes.
Have you ever watched those videos that are being filmed by somebody? You could tell somebody's filming it with their phone. I've been in a few of those.
Wait. Do you mean?
At that.
Wait a minute. Are you talking amateur stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Okay. Well, who hasn't been?
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not.
Well, that's the thing. First of all, if anybody out there listening, they're going to be, filming each other, filming their sexual escapades. Don't put it on the cloud. Don't fucking do it. You're gonna get people are gonna be watching. Didn't they say what was his name? The guy Snowden, the guy who worked for the NSA. I think it was him. He was the guy that said that people in the NSA would be watching other people's sex videos. Like they would look into the cloud and they would just watch people having sex, and right there in the office. Yeah, no supervisor telling them what to do or anything.
That's insane.
It's insane, but it's what I would do if I was working at the NSA. So, I mean, I can't call it insane.
At least you're honest. I give you that.
Well, yeah, fuck yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. But what else is going on here in the boxing world? Mikey Garcia, no, I don't know when he's gonna fight. By the way, this is something that I wanted to do. By the way, I wanted to ask you guys because we've been doing hours and hours of shows together, but I don't think I know that much about you in terms of your experiences with boxing. Like when you got started or what's your, like I want to hear some of your favorite boxing memories. Like it doesn't even have to be a big fight or just one interesting boxing fact about you guys or your watching experiences or something that got you hooked into boxing. Like how did you get hooked into boxing in the first place?
You asking me or well?
Well, whoever wants to go first.
Watching Marvin Hagler knock out Tommy Hearns. That was for me. That's like what really got me into boxing. Just because of I can remember my father and my uncles, his brothers going back and forth about who was going to win that fight. And of course, my father was a Hagler fan, so was I. And so when he knocked him out in the third round, well, I didn't see it live when it happened, but when I got to watch it, I forgot how I did. My father may have videotaped it or had it on video, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. That was just that fight is what really got me into boxing.
Let me tell you something. If there's any fight that's gotten people into boxing, it has to be Hagler versus Hearns. Talk about 3 rounds of dynamite in that one. I'm not surprised. That's the fight that got you into boxing. And was there ever
the way he put him to sleep? That was just the most impressive part. The way he put Tommy Hearns to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He was real confident at one point, and then he just gets hit, and he does this funny movement, and next thing you know, he's like, "That's it. He's asleep."
Exactly. Yeah.
It was the best.
I didn't see that fight live, but I can only imagine how fast it must have felt like watching it for the first time or live when you don't know what's going to happen. Because now everybody knows obviously what happened in that fight, but when you don't know how it's going to end, and all of a sudden, boom, in 3 rounds, it was like a burst, like a big flame bursting. Bright, huge, explosive, and then as soon as it started, it just went out. That must have been a great fight.
I remember being afraid for Hagler going into that fight because there was a lot of talk, right, of Hagler looked pretty, I wouldn't say bad, but he looked pretty average against Roberto Duran, who went up to 160 and gave him a good fight, a 15-round fight. And then right after that, Roberto Duran goes and fights Tommy Hearns, and he gets knocked out in the second round. So there was back then, I could remember at least the back and forth for my father and my uncles was like, "Oh, you're crazy," telling my father, "You're crazy. Hagler is finished, and Tommy Hearns is going to kill him." I mean, look at the Roberto Duran, the comparison of the Roberto Duran comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So. There was a little bit of nervousness that I was a Hagler fan, so I thought maybe Hearns could pull it out.
And that's a good point that Duran had made Hagler look human, and then also Hagler had looked bad a little bit against Juan Roldan, right, the Argentinian guy.
Right. Of course that was before the Hearns fight as well. Because I think Roldan was the first guy that or the only guy that ever that knocked Tommy Hearns down.
If I remember correctly, though, that wasn't really a knockdown. I think it was a slip.
I mean, he hit him, and he kind of looked like he went off balance, and he went down. Tommy Hearns down.
Right.
If I remember correctly, though, that wasn't really a knockdown. I think it was a slip.
All right, boxing style. You got your speakers on, man.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Yeah, you need to turn your speakers off, man.
What's up, guys?
I think it was a slip.
Yeah, you need to mute your mic or your speakers.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, mute your mic, man. Mute your mic. All right. So, okay. Now that your mic is muted, you have to turn your speakers off Otherwise, we hear everything that we're saying. So if you could put on a pair of earphones on and turn the speakers off, that would be fantastic. Because we can hear everything that you're hearing on delay. But yeah, but speaking about that that Hagler Hearns fight, man, that must have been. I wish I could have seen that live. BDA wasn't old enough to watch that fight.
I was a teenager back then. That was like 13, 14.
Mhm.
What year was that fight?
85.
85?
Yeah.
No, I was younger than that. Wow.
I was gonna ask, how old are you?
I was actually 12 years old when that fight happened.
No, but that's 1 year difference. It's the same thing. Listen, when you're 12, 13, 14, it's the same thing. But
yeah, you kind of remember. Yeah, you got a good memory of it.
Right. And that's the other thing, because we had Jimmy's Corner. Or what's his actual name, Bucho?
Well,
Jimmy Smith? Boxing Jimmy, yeah. He was here and he used to train with Mickey. I don't know if you heard that episode, recognized, but it was with Mickey Ward and he was talking about Mickey Ward.
The guy with the accent, the Boston,
Boston
accent.
The Boston. Yeah, he was from Boston. But
he's from Boston.
Yeah.
Does he own a bar in New York?
It's very rare. Rare apple. It's rare apple. I'm not making fun of the guy, but I'm just like.
No, but I'm trying to do the accent too. I can't do that Boston accent. I don't know how to. I can't do many accents.
You gotta have hot.
I can only do Spanish accents.
Yeah, you gotta have hot. But yeah, he was talking about how he watched Hagler train and he said he was a beast, push himself to the limit every time he trained, and you could tell, man, every time he fought or that he was in a tough fight, Hagler, like for example the Mugabe fight. Oof, I enjoy a good fight. But when you watch two guys brutalizing each other the way those two were, it kind of makes you feel a little bad, man. I don't know if maybe I'm a pussy or something. I don't know, but that's.
That fight. I'm happy you brought that up because that fight really ended his prime, Hagler's prime.
Mm-hmm.
That fight right there ended it. You go look back at that fight. Go look at Hagler at the end of the fight. Go look at him in between rounds. He was getting hurt in that fight. He was.
By a bum.
He had well, Mugabe. You see, Mugabe was never the same because Mugabe was a guy that was upcoming and he was just knocking out these regular fighters, right? But he was strong. He was a strong dude. But after that performance, that I think Mugabe got, he definitely was able to hurt Hagler and change his.
Mugabe almost got sparked by he almost got sparked by a journeyman or another bum. Mugabe. He had pedigree, right? He was like a silver medalist or something. He wasn't a bum. Don't get me wrong, but like he never achieved anything really in the sport before or after Hagler. Even the title that he won was kind of like Charles Martin winning his title. Basically, it was the same shit.
You know what?
Mugabe was the best guy available at that time. In other words, there was not that much good fighters in that time where Hagler was practically at the ending of his career. But the one thing I will say is, as bad as it was for Mugabe, he did get a lot of good punches in. He did have some good moments. Just look at Hagler's face in between rounds. He was in trouble. He was in some trouble in that fight.
Yeah, Hagler had no defense, man. Really poor defense.
Yeah, he had some compared to today's standard. His defense is bad. Yeah, I would say that.
Now
I don't know, man. I was looking at Munguia's record, and then I would out of curiosity went and checked back Mugabe's record, and the guy that wasn't allowed to fight Golovkin, they basically got the same record as Mugabe did before he fought Hagler. Now after he fought Hagler, he fought some more names, but he never beat anybody. But it is what it is.
Mugabe didn't beat nobody noteworthy going into that fight. He beat the leftovers or guys that were coming up like him.
Mm-hmm.
He was fighting guys with 6, 12, 20 losses, basically.
Yeah, there was terrible resume. It's just that at that time, to say, "Oh, I'm 25-0 with 25 knockouts," he may have fought like one or two leftover opponents that fought Hagler, and I forget who they were, and he knocked them out pretty impressively, and they were going off of that. But he did
there
give
was
Hagler problems.
There was this one fight where I forget who it was, man, but the dude had Mugabe on Queer Street. He almost knocked him the fuck out, and I don't know. I forget who it was, man. But it was some journeyman that like almost sparked him out. So
Yeah, he wasn't good.
I think
His defense was terrible.
nobody had defense back then.
Yes, but especially Mugabe, man. He was just a bear. He was just like, I hit you, you hit me. Let's see who the last one standing.
I'm not saying it wasn't a good victory. I just think people like blow this shit way out of proportion, man. Mugabe was, it was like Marco Antonio Rubio today, basically. That's Mugabe for you.
Yeah, you know what Mugabe reminds me a bit of is like a little bit like Austin Trout. Austin Trout had that big win over Cotto, and then went on to lose against everybody else. Mugabe had that big performance against Hagler, and then went on to lose to everybody else. So kind of the same thing there if you think about it. And he was a huge.
Trout won.
Yeah, except Trout won. But I mean,
Mugabe's resume reminds me of Montel Griffin before he fought James Toney.
Right,
okay,
right.
Look at Montel Griffith's record. Now, of course, different styles of fighting. One guy is just a slugger looking to knock you out. The other one has boxing pedigree in Montel Griffin. But if you look at the resume, it was more or less the same going into the Toney fight for Montel Griffin. They fought a bunch of nobodies. But I'll still say this, man. If Montel Griffin gave James Toney all kind of problems, whether people think he won that fight or not. And to me, Mugabe, he hurt Hagler in a lot of ways in that fight. And I don't think Hagler was the same after that fight. I don't think he really was.
That's why he was.
Well,
long layoff after that fight.
The only thing that was special about Mugabe was the punching power, and he was special when it came to punching power. But other than that, he wasn't really all that good. But that punching power is he's probably one of the biggest punchers in history. But so is Deontay Wilder.
Well, yeah, that's another. But the body punching too in that fight was tremendous. I mean, I think I remember Flip Homansky, who was a physician at the time for the Nevada State Health Commission. I think he said both guys were pissing blood the next day.
You talking about Hagler and Mugabe?
Yeah. Yeah, because some of those body shots were just tremendous. And by the way, I want to go back to boxing style. Boxing style, are you there? And have you turned the speakers off? Boxing style, are you there? All I see here is him in a dark room. I see a dark silhouette.
He's lurking.
I see
shadows.
Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted still.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Boxing style, your mic is muted, so we can't hear what you have to say. So when you can get around
Guys,
to
I'm gonna mute my mic. I gotta run and do something. I'll be back like in
all right.
15 minutes.
All right. Don't kill anybody in that elevator now. Take care of those wires and everything.
If I'm not back in 10-15 minutes, that means somebody got me.
Yeah. All right. Oh, boxing style, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's up, guys?
All right. Good to have you on board, man. By the way, did you say you're Armenian, right?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So
I've been. I checked this BDA chat room. I'm never interested in stuff like this. I got it from Precise. I'm a big fan of the guy.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. See, Precise brings the people, man. He brings the crowds with him.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He's pretty accurate with his assessments.
Well, it's interesting when you're as accurate as he is and as passionate as he is about the sport, he also attracts a lot of enemies. It's a lot of people out there. But then again,
I body them all.
Exactly.
I body them all.
I'm still surprised. I'm still surprised there's a lot of people that won't debate you. They refuse to even be on the same platform as you.
So
I'm not afraid to debate with him. I just I value his material more than most of the channels out there.
Right.
Well, I
You know what I mean?
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, look,
You're
listen.
welcome, bro.
You agree with something or you disagree, and at the end of the day, it's only boxing. I mean, I don't understand what the big deal is here. I mean, if you start getting into something else, then that's on you. You know what I mean? But I mean, we're here to talk boxing. Yeah, we're not here to talk about other issues. I mean, we'll talk about other issues.
I don't know about that, but you got to talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We try to keep it topical. You know, at the end of the day, we can only talk so much boxing. So yeah, okay, we're talking about boxing memories. You know, what got you into boxing, or what's one of those fights that you remember the most, and it doesn't even have to be a big fight. It just has to be something weird that happened. I mean, I'll give you mine, and then you guys can give me yours. But real quick, when Roy Jones got knocked out by Tarver, I mean, I grew up watching Roy Jones dominating everybody. He was going through I know some of them were bums, but he was doing things that you didn't see anybody else doing. All of a sudden, you know, he struggled a little bit against Tarver the first fight, and you're thinking, all right, if he comes in shape, he's gonna really whoop Tarver this time. But when he started off that first round and a half, he started fighting like he was trying to recreate the Montel Griffin rematch. And all of a sudden, he gets caught with a big left hand. I couldn't understand what had happened. I was like, well, wait a minute, is he down? And then you all know what happened. So I'm curious to hear some of your boxing memories. Like, what's some of those type of memories that you guys have?
Mine was Tyson with Holyfield, the Biden year incident.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, that was a while back. I stopped watching boxing for like a few years, got into MMA, and then all of a sudden, after Triple G came into the picture, I was like, who is this guy? Started watching more and more and more of Triple G, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I got interested off of Triple G. I came back with Triple G. I like 2012, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But still wasn't like into YouTube. I guess after that Mayweather versus Conor fight, I went deeper into YouTube.
Oh, well, there you go.
Like, yeah. Like, I got really into boxing and all there is to it. I went boxing for a while, for like maybe 2 to 3 months. But, I mean, I got second place for this tournament that they're having in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it. And I didn't continue afterwards because I'm a pretty much lazy type of guy, so I don't really enjoy the training that goes into getting into the ring, but I appreciate the technique and skill that goes into it. But at the time, I had no real skill. I mean, whatever I watched from Floyd or whatever, I brought whatever I saw from past days, you know, like Tyson's head movement and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got second place. I was maybe 147 pounds. I mean, I cut a lot of weight because the training was brutal.
Oh yeah.
Just to get in there.
But why were you cutting weight though? I mean,
because I just falling off. The weight was falling off me, man. It's just all the punching, all the running, all the sit-ups, all the jumping, jump ropes, all this shit just drained the shit out of me. I ended up going from like 170 pounds to dropping 147 just to fight.
Yeah, boxing will do that to you, man.
Yeah, it's a brutal sport, but I love it though. I still enjoy the shit out of it. I like any contact sport.
There's nothing quite like it. I mean, you can run all you want. You can lift weights, you know, going to a gym with air conditioning and just lift weights, and you know, you can do your sprints, but hitting that bag, hitting the mitts, getting in the ring with somebody else and sparring, I mean, it's just, I don't know, you sometimes you hate it and then you stop doing it for a while and then you start missing it again, you know?
Yeah, it's a beauty. It's a beauty. It's
all right.
Just the work that goes behind it.
But by the way, Bucho, do we have Michael Stott in the chat room?
Yep.
I mean, in the hangout, yeah.
I'm on the rooftop of my apartment, guys. Exclusive report, that guy.
That's right. Michael is in the house. Michael is the one that sent me the news that Joshua had offered Wilder 12.5 mil. Michael, thank you for being on, man. Always glad to have you.
How you doing? How's everybody doing?
Good to have you on, man. Look, we're talking about boxing memories or things that stick in your mind as you've watched boxing throughout the years. Is there anything in particular that sticks in your mind regarding boxing?
From what I caught, it seems like you guys are talking like memories.
Sort of, yeah. Going down memory lane a little bit.
Or?
Well, not necessarily childhood, but anything that really sticks in your mind as, like before, like if somebody were ever to ask you, what's something that really impacted you in boxing or from boxing, what would that be for you?
Shoot, like what impacted me?
Yeah, could be anything, man.
Like,
could be.
Shoot, I don't know. But I mean, I kind of wanted to say like something that sticks in my head more than anything was my earliest memory of boxing was Tyson's era. And when he fought Buster Douglas, I was pretty young. I don't know if I was 8 or 9. But I remember my dad, he kept saying like, "Oh, this is how you beat Tyson, so you beat Tyson," and people were kind of saying that Tyson would never lose, right? But he was saying like this is the strategy to beat him. So I guess Douglas did his strategy, and so when he got knocked out, that my dad got so excited that he jumped up and threw his hands up like celebrating. He's about 6'3" ish, almost 6'4", and he fucking punched hole like through the ceiling.
Oh boy.
Because he got so excited that Tyson got knocked out that he fucking, with both his fists, he jumped for joy. Like he just boom, punched holes in the fucking ceiling, and he didn't even care. He was just like so happy that Tyson had gotten knocked out.
Yeah, you know what?
The next day.
Did
it rain the next day?
Because
no, there's nothing worse than hitting holes, punching holes in your wall. Because let's say for some reason, like if you have kids, right, and then social services walks in and they see holes on the wall, they think you got anger issues. They're gonna take those kids away from you, and they might never see them again. So, if you're gonna punch holes through I knew this guy, by the way. One day, he comes to the gym and he's got his hand all bandaged up, and I go, "What happened there?" Because I'm thinking maybe he hurt in work or something, or maybe he fought somebody. I don't know. He tells me, "Oh, it's because I was fighting with my girlfriend, and I got so angry I punched holes in the wall." Thinking, "Geez, Luis, were you punching holes in the wall?" I mean, that's women. Some women will drive a guy to do that type of shit, punching holes through the wall. So, but that's a pretty good memory right there. Remembering.
Oh, we couldn't punch your hole. That's why.
You're gonna punch a hole. All right, but listen. That's another good one right there. Remembering how your big old upset and how your parent or dad, your father, reacted to it. Precise. I'm curious to get your impressions on boxing, man. Any memory that sticks in your mind?
Yeah, Andre Gowota teaching Riddick Bowe the sweet science, man. I'll never forget that. The punk ass couldn't take the body shots.
Wait a minute. Which fight did you say?
Gowota versus Bowe. Both fights, actually. I couldn't believe how he schooled him. Well, he didn't school him. It was
the first
a good
one,
fight,
yeah.
but he was beating him. He was beating him, and Riddick Bowe just checked out of the fight, man. The body shots were too much.
Okay, remind me again. Was it the second fight where Goleta really went low, or was it the first fight?
Both.
Both? No, come on. Oh, come on. He did hit him low a bunch of times.
Well, but Bowe was low blowing him too. It's just that, he was I forget what it was, but it was just a dirty fight all around, and Gowota just got pissed off for being warned all the time, and Bowe not getting any warnings, and he hated black people. Let's keep it real, and he just went low, I guess. But hey, it was a great win either way.
There's nothing quite like a guy getting hit repeatedly in the balls to stick in your mind, right? I mean, I remember the first video I saw of, those guys that like to get their balls stomped on by women with high heels.
I was shocked because he was winning the fight, and then he does that. Like I just couldn't comprehend it. But he was just a racist, and I'm not making that up. It's 100% truth.
Wait, who was a racist? You said
Andrew Gowota.
Gowota, yeah, he was nuts, man. I mean, I remember there was a story, I think in 2004, 2005, he was carrying around he was doing some sort of volunteer work for the police commission of some state or whatever, because he was residing in the U.S. and they had given him a badge, a temporary badge, sort of like deputized him or something. and then it was expired, but he kept it around, and then he got pulled over by a cop, and he showed the badge. He was pretending to be a cop, and then when the cop asked him, "Are you really a cop?" and Golada, with that Polish accent of his, "Oh, I sorry, I'm not really cop," and he got arrested. So the guy was nuts, man.
He was a hooligan. He was a street fighter hooligan. You know, he was a dude off the street. It was big for me because I lived in Chicago at the time he did, and I didn't really know him like that, but he lived in the community. He was around. He was like, that guy, that weirdo guy. I don't know. It's just something that stuck in my memory, but I remember my pops always having amateur boxing on the TV since I was a kid, but I didn't know who the guys were or what they were fighting for. I just sat there and watched the matches,
Yeah, man. I mean, and by the way, what happened when Lehman Brewster knocked him out in one round? That was in Chicago, right?
I think so. I don't remember.
Were you there at that time, or were you already gone?
No, I was in Chicago. We moved there in '92, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, Michael Stott. Yeah, but that's a good. That's like again that getting hit in the balls. I'll tell you one Golada memory for me was when I was watching him fight Tyson, and I thought he was gonna give Tyson a pretty good fight, and then all of a sudden he quits, and his trainer, Golada's trainer, trying to get him out for another round, and Golada just shaking his head, and the guy, the trainer was trying to shove the mouthpiece back in his mouth, and Golada just like nodding his head, going, "Nope." That was a weird
one. The guy
had
had mental issues, man. He was a mental case.
No kidding, man. I mean, and then him getting bombarded with drinks as he was going back. I mean, listen, if a guy wants to quit, he wants to quit, but the crowd they paid good money to see that fight, and then all of a sudden the guy quits without barely giving it a good try. But yeah, that was Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. But yeah, Michael, what's this I'm hearing about? Your cousin got knocked out by a girl?
Yeah, like when we were growing up too, we used to like have gloves. We didn't put wraps on or nothing, but we would always just put on gloves real quick and meet in the grass or somebody's yard and challenge each other just like on a Saturday or whenever weekends. And we would just spar, and like we wouldn't really hurt each other because we were kids wearing heavy ass 16-ounce gloves or 14-ounce gloves, So it's not like we were gonna like kill each other, but we would spar. Some dudes would basically overpower other dudes. And I don't know, it was this one time there's this girl that was hella tall, and she was talking shit to my cousin John or something. And I don't know, like people were telling him to put it on, and he was like, all right, we'll put it on. He'll put the gloves on with her, and he was just gonna let her kind of like whatever kind of go off. He wasn't gonna hit her, right? But I don't know, she did say he was like having a high guard, and she did something, I don't know, her instinct or what, but she threw like a body shot to the liver, like haymaker or something. The dude just went down.
Oof.
Fucking basically crying and shit, like basically a knockout. He couldn't get up and shit, couldn't breathe, and like everybody was just like, holy shit, he just got fucking laid out by a chick with a body shot.
Them liver shots are the worst.
Yeah, they'll do you in, man. They'll do anybody in those liver shots. By the way, man, I mean, how bad did he get teased afterwards? How many years did the teasing go on for?
Quite a while, I think. I don't think he was ever the same, bro.
Are you serious?
I think everyone thought like, oh, we could just kick this guy's ass now. Like fucking Amanda kicked his ass. Like,
well, don't say her name, otherwise people are gonna track her down to get.
I'm throwing. I don't think they watch this. They,
No, but I'm saying.
beat up John really bad, huh?
Was that?
Yeah.
Amanda beat up John.
Chick,
yeah, Amanda beat up John. Did Amanda grow up to be a hot girl afterwards, or what happened there?
I don't know. Their family's like all large people and shit, and her dad was really large, so
a bunch of Nephilims.
She probably had the genetics to pack a punch or something.
Yeah, she probably had Nordic alien DNA inside of her. That's why she was so tall. But it's interesting, man.
Like 5'10" now, like as a grown woman or something.
I first of all, I gotta tell you, I'm a little disappointed in the story because I thought you were gonna. When you said knocked out, I thought knocked out cold with a chin shot.
Nah, I wish, but it was more like I think it was worse that she hit him in the body. That the dude fucking started crying.
I tell you something.
I don't know. After he thought it was a joke, but then it was like he really literally got hurt.
Jeez, Luis. I tell you something, man. I still remember the first time I got hit in the, not necessarily the body, liver or anything, but it was a plexus shot. It wasn't even boxing. It was when I was back in Mexico and somebody kicked a football, a soccer ball, as they call it here in North America, and hit me right in the plexus, man. And I don't know what's worse, a liver shot or a shot to the plexus. But the plexus, I would have to say a plexus is more, because once you know what it is, you can sort of take it.
You got hit by a soccer ball?
Yeah, full
Soccer ball
speed.
did that to you?
Man, it was a. Hey, have you ever gotten hit with a soccer ball, man?
Yeah, I've never ever got that from a soccer ball. From a punch, yeah, but never from a soccer ball.
Let me tell you something. Maybe it's your Armenians are tougher. You have that reputation.
I don't know,
I
I'm
don't know.
just saying, bro. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, but it was in the plexus, right? Because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't playing. I was just passing by the football field, and boom, I get a fucking
How
soccer
old
ball.
were you?
I think it was 6.
Oh, okay, maybe that expensive.
Yeah. No, now try it out, man. Hit me in the plexus. I'll give you a free shot. Won't do anything to me. Won't even face me. That's how tough I am now. I took my vitamins. Let me tell you that much right now. But
we're gonna jackhammer.
exactly, you're gonna need a jackhammer. No, but listen, that's what they always say, right? They say no matter how much you work those abs, you can't protect the plexus and you can't protect the liver. Like if somebody gets a good shot in there, you're gonna go down.
So,
and that's why I'm always surprised.
I guess if you train enough, that slowly goes away. But you feel if they catch you in the right spot, That's happened to me before.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. I lasted one round, and then after that one round, I just went and sit down.
Jeez.
Catch you one. Yeah. I mean that was me in the first week though. I trained hard enough.
Yeah, because
I always notice it's like you can't breathe when you're. I mean, you get hurt when you're taking a breath, and you get hit. If I'm holding my breath, I could take it more. But like if you catch me when I'm in the middle of exhaling or inhaling, that's when it's kind of it hurts.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to hold your breath in, right? You're supposed to exhale when somebody's punching you, right? Or I mean, I don't know how you were taught, but.
Well, I mean, anytime anyone's gonna hit me, I would like brace for it.
Up.
Yeah, and I hold my breath just like you're lifting weights or something.
Right.
I guess it's when you don't expect it that's the worst. But if you train hard enough, I guess that's all. Doesn't really phase after a while, depending on who you get hit with too. That matters too.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Exactly.
I went from sparring 160 guys to 180, and the 190 guy hit me one time in the solar plexus, and I was like, oh god. I got used to it after like 1 or 2 rounds, but I still wasn't. I mean, it's too big. The size is huge.
Yeah, sparring with heavyweights is the worst. Sometimes they don't even try to hit you hard, and you can still feel the fucking punch, the heavy punch. I'll tell you something, man. I watched that movie with Tom Hanks where he says, "I wish I was tall or big," or I forget. I'm butchering the quote there, but that's it for me, man. I wish I was a fucking 6'5" guy. But then again, if if you're gonna be big, or if you're gonna be like 160 pounder or something, you got the best of both worlds, really, because a 160 pounder can still knock a heavyweight out. But if that heavyweight is just that much better than you, then there's very little that you can do.
And you live longer on average.
If you're
with gloves.
Well, in a street fight too. I mean, I remember Arturo. Yeah, Arturo Gatti was knocking out heavyweights in the streets.
Yeah, definitely the streets. I could see that. Boxing gloves is a little difficult.
Yeah. I remember I asked James Stoney when he was here on the show. I asked him because he would spar heavyweights. This guy, he didn't give a fuck. And I asked him, "Who's the biggest guy you ever sparred?" Because he was supposed to fight Jamil McCline back in 2005, I think. And he said his answer was Francois Botha, the White Buffalo. And I was actually quite surprised that he mentioned Botha, because I don't see Botha as being, compared to me, he's big, but relative to other heavyweights, I don't see him as being the biggest heavyweight out. Maybe he thought I was referring to the strongest. I don't know, but that was his take on it. But yeah, if you're like,
you guys talking about weight bullies, man. There was guys at 155, like talking about her, they'd be looking like they're in 200 or something.
No kidding.
They were huge, man. They're like, there's some guys they cut so much weight, they go down. Their hits at 155. Even though I wanted to go for 155, I couldn't fight because I was on 147.
Mm-hmm.
They had that weight issue thing going on. But yeah, I mean, like at 180, the guy was fighting for 180, but he actually would walk around maybe 230 or some shit like that, 240. I don't know, not 230, it's exaggerating, 220, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's
insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
When I was going in there in boxing, I was same. Whatever I weighed is what, if they was pretty much around the weight class I would fight in, which was 178 back then. But.
So you didn't have to
I don't know,
cut
man. This was in the military. I was in the army, so they were doing this shit. Yeah, this in the whole FOB. Everybody was brought in from different weight classes, about 35,000 people, soldiers, and I was one of them.
But it's still insane to cut that much weight. I mean,
they had all experience. There was some guy had kickboxing experience. Some guy I had no experience at all at boxing whatsoever. Teach me the 1-2s and shit.
That's all you need, really. Fucking 1-2, left hook to the liver. You're good. But yeah, UFC is the one that they really surprised me with the weight cuts, because those guys have wrestling experience, and wrestlers as a whole, from what I hear, their weight cuts are worse than boxing. So they bring that over to the UFC, and man, someone like Khabib, like we were talking about Khabib earlier, that guy looked emaciated during the weigh-in the other day. His cheek, and McGregor too. McGregor, when he was fighting at 145, it's insane that he was making 145. I mean, essentially, that's a welterweight. The guy's not. Did you see how huge he looked against Floyd Mayweather? Once they were in the ring.
They say nutrition. I don't know.
But I mean, you can only do that.
He was probably drained in that fight, man.
He was, and he was inexperienced. I mean, listen, Mayweather was gonna beat him either way, but fucking.
If he had excellent stamina, he would have won that fight. He would have been robbed, but if he had like top-notch excellent stamina, Floyd wouldn't have knocked him out. He got tired. He's a 5-round fighter that had to drop however many pounds. He was drained at 147, in my opinion. Don't you think?
A lot of my buddies are saying that Mayweather went easy on him. But I don't know, man. The first 5 rounds.
No, he was getting schooled. Mayweather was getting schooled. Yeah. Because Mayweather can't fight coming forward, especially a southpaw that moves around. That's why he didn't want to go after Pacquiao. He couldn't go after Pacquiao. He can't fight coming forward. He can. He just sucks at it.
I think that was part of the agreement with the McGregor fight. He was told, come forward.
What do you?
Maybe. He had no choice. McGregor got the reach on him, and he moved.
Yeah, McGregor had like a 77-inch reach, 74 for, I think, Mayweather. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. 77.
77. That's why he has like power. I don't know, man. The long reach guys have power too, man. The momentum they get from that punch.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But going back to the Mayweather struggling with Mayweather, I mean with McGregor, I didn't see any body punching from Mayweather. It seemed like he was just trying. He didn't want to take McGregor out too easily, otherwise it was gonna blow the whole deal. I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? It was a freak fight.
I thought he took it easy on him, like what you just said, BDA. I think he took it easy on him. He fought in a way that he doesn't usually fight, and I just felt that he realized that this guy has no real punch technique in terms of boxing, and didn't know what he was doing, so he could come forward.
I went with the hype, and I bet $300 on McGregor for a knockout. Lost that shit.
So you was hoping to win the odds, right?
Yeah, bro. I was like, if he pulled off the shit that he says, like first round knockout against the competition that he did in UFC, I was like, it's a good possibility he might know something that we don't know.
I knew it was going to be a problem for him, because boxing in UFC, in terms of punching, is totally different technique. It just is.
It's true, but the stance that he had in UFC, he did not pull off in boxing. He did not do that shit. He just did the same boxing that you see any Joe Schmo doing. And he said that he didn't want no boxing coach or anything like that shit. I'm like, dude, you're just doing the same boxing stance that any Joe would do. Like the way you were standing in UFC, I figured that when Mayweather comes in with that right hand of his that he normally throws in, catch him. But his power wasn't enough to knock out Mayweather anyhow. So it's ridiculous to even say
he didn't have the technique.
You see that? you see that hammer punch he kept throwing.
Yeah, that
Dude,
was ridiculous.
that's street fighting. That's when you get your man down on the floor.
Loma does that too.
Instead of like hitting him with your fist, you like, you come down with like the hammer, bang, bang, bang. He was doing that in a boxing fight. That's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna do anything.
Depends on who's doing it though. But Mayweather got a chin on him. He's a roid freak, Mayweather, man.
He's a roid freak. Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't want to get too much.
I don't know. I'm watching the first round, guys, and Connor's schooling his ass right now.
Yeah, maybe.
He's countering him. He's moving him with body shots. Mayweather's trying. He got no choice but to come forward because Connor is faster and he's got more reach and height. And he was controlling Mayweather. Connor can box a little bit. He's just tired. He gassed and he ran out of ideas. He knows how to box a little bit. He just doesn't got good punch technique.
I figure if he had the stamina like Precise is saying, that he would last probably like 12 rounds with that fool, and he would have technically won the fight, but they would have still gave it to Mayweather.
Stamina is not the issue for him. Remember, 5 rounds of UFC fighting is
25 minutes,
more
man.
intense. Okay, it's way more intense than a boxing round. So
yeah, but he had to make 147 though. He doesn't make that weight anymore.
Look at Nate Diaz. Well, Nate Diaz spars with Andre Ward. Nate Diaz. And look at the stamina that fool has, man.
Well,
I think boxers have better stamina than most UFC fighters.
Wasn't the weight
on average?
Weight for the Mayweather McGregor
fight? Take a boxer and make him fight.
I can't hear you.
The Diaz brothers are triathletes, though. Not too many MMA fighters are triathletes.
You're gonna tap out. Listen, I can't picture my brother spars UFC, that MMA style all the time. In that kind of fighting, I can't fuck with him. I can't. Boxing, I'm whipping his ass.
Yeah, it's a different type of stamina with the wrestling and all that shit. I know. But the thing is, I noticed like it's a little bit more with boxing, man. I mean, I could be wrong. Don't get it all. Don't take my word for it. I could be wrong.
Yeah, like recognize and is saying, and you guys are saying, it's different types of stamina. It's like you take George St. Pierre, and he can roll for 5 rounds in an MMA fight, championship fight. He can't go on the bag for as long as somebody. Oh, he can't. 10 rounder, he would be dead tired by the 6th round if he didn't change anything to his training. Remember, boxing, all these guys are doing is moving and punching. MMA, they have to be throwing kicks. They have to, they can take little rests when they get into that Muay Thai clinch or that dirty boxing style against the cage. They can go to the floor. I mean, yes, they're always working, but they're working different muscles. You know what I mean?
Different muscles, yep.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say with like jiu-jitsu and judo, if you know what you're doing, yeah, it's very physical, but if you know how to take breaks, like there's moments in jiu-jitsu and stuff, you can kind of get in positions where you might take a second or two to
you gotta know
what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then you can pace yourself a little bit. Boxing, I don't know, sometimes you can't. The ref won't let you. You can't really clench too many times, and you got to keep moving. So
there's also the incidences in boxing. I mean, we're not talking about like Andre Ward type of boxing. We're talking about real boxing where you don't hug. And when you don't hug and it goes 12 rounds straight like that, that could be much more demanding than what you have in the UFC, because they could just grab you in UFC, put you up in the cage, and just lean on you for like a good few minutes here and there. So I still believe that somehow. I'm not 100% sure about it because it depends on the individual too. I think Jared Hurd, for example, has a huge stamina. Whether it's the PEDs or not, I don't know. Got a huge stamina.
That's one thing he's right. Yeah, Hurd for sure showed that his stamina, he can keep going with that style of fighting. But again, if Jared Hurd, just to use him as an example, if Jared Hurd can only throw punches, he can only block punches coming in. Put him in a UFC fight where guys are kicking to the leg, kicking to the stomach, punching to the face, trying to take you down. He's food. He's lunch. He's dead.
Exactly. Yeah. He wouldn't even last a round.
I remember when I only knew boxing, right? I remember when I only knew how to box, and I would, spar with people that knew how to wrestle and sort of like just MMA style of fighting. You know, see what you got, see what I got. And it wasn't until I learned how to do other things and have the stamina to keep doing it. If I didn't learn that, I would get my ass whipped every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And until I learned how to, I've always knew how to kickbox and box, right? That was my thing. But until I learned how to wrestle, how to how to throw how to break somebody from bringing you down to the floor, you know what I'm saying? The technique that it takes, the kind of stamina that it takes. You're dead, man. A boxer's not fucking with a guy who knows how to street fight. In a street fight, no, you're not. You're gonna get your ass whipped every time.
Absolutely.
Unless,
I want to hear X's take on this.
Yo, X got his own channel. Just wanted to let you know, X got his own channel.
Wait. Are you saying he's got a channel separate from your channel now?
X got his own channel. He doesn't want nothing to do with me. He has an introduction video. Yeah.
So where can we check that out?
It's called 100% X. Actually, look at my last.
Oh man.
Listen, I didn't come up with this. It's him. You know.
I know. I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, because
so
people.
It's in my last video that I did. I think last night. I left the link. I think not in the description box. I left it in the comment section.
Okay.
And you'll see it there.
I'm gonna look for it, man. But here's the thing: there's a little problem with the title, 100% X, because he's such a compelling figure, such a polarizing figure at the same time that I think people at some point are gonna want more X. In other words, they're gonna want more than 100%. Is that possible?
I don't know. I mean, he claims. The thing about X, man, he could just pop up out of nowhere, right? Like he's probably listening. He's probably listening to this. To the show right now,
I'm sure he is, man. I'm pretty sure he is.
I don't need him interfering in my phone, tapping into my phone and start cursing and calling out low place and calling them all kind of dirty names and calling everybody coons,
No, we definitely don't want that. We definitely don't want that. And by the way, I'm looking for the link. I wrote 100% X on YouTube, and I'm having trouble finding it. Like.
Oh, he's not gonna like that because he thinks he thinks he's already popular.
Oh no, sorry. I found I looked under channel and here it is. My introduction. It's how I see things. All right, so there you go. I'm gonna put the link in the description there of this stream.
Listen, man, he's ready to start some problems. Just put it that way.
But you gotta tell him to calm down, though. This YouTube thing, it's not easy. You say the wrong thing, all of a sudden everybody jumps on you.
I think that he's trying to see what kind of reaction or how long he can stay on YouTube saying the kind of things he wants to say. I think that's what he's trying to do. I'm not 100% sure.
He's a bit of an instigator, then. I like that.
He's like when you think he's on somebody's side, just by the way he talks, he's really not. He's one of those kind of guys.
Right.
He wants problems, I think.
Well, listen, that makes for great entertainment on YouTube, and I think it's gonna go very big. He's gonna go over very big with the YouTube community. So we. I'm glad we got that covered. I'm glad we got that update about X. Now, I hate to leave the subject of X because it's so compelling, but going back to what we were talking about, the difference between MMA and boxing, there was also, you remember we were talking about War Machine, I think a week ago, and how they
about Christy, the War Machine, the guy that beat up
Christy Mack, the porn star,
right? His porn star girlfriend, and the guy, I guess the guy that was caught in the act with her.
Right. Well, he was saying. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast before all of that went down, and it's interesting because he said he's friends with, or he was friends with a lot of Navy SEALs who trained with him, because they wanted to learn how to grapple and all that. And he said these guys can do, because Navy SEALs, they do obstacle courses all the time. He says they do an obstacle course in under 2 minutes. Most of us, it would take us I don't know how long, but it would take us a long time. These guys have it down to a science that they can carry a backpack or a military sack for 120-pound sack through and march for miles and miles and miles, but you roll with them, and they would get tired after 3 minutes. Because again, it goes back to the stamina. It's different step. Yeah. So my question to you guys is:
I can run pretty good, but I suck at swimming. I mean, I go about maybe 400 meters, and I was tired as fuck. Can't do shit anymore.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is one of the best workouts in order to improve boxing? And I'm not talking necessarily as a professional, 12 rounds, because that's a whole different story. But let's say amateur, you're fighting for three rounds. Over here in Canada, it's 2-minute rounds, 3 2-minute rounds. That's very explosive type of fighting. You give it your all. It's not a marathon. It's a sprint. So what would you guys do in order to improve your stamina in that respect?
You mean to fight like 3 rounds?
Yeah, you gotta keep going for 3 2-minute rounds.
You just gotta take some ephedrine, get all pumped up.
Okay,
Red Bull.
Natural.
See, it's a little different for me. I've been doing it for so long that I could still do 3 rounds pretty easy. I'm not gonna say. Well, let me. Not easy, but I can do it. It's not. Let's say even if I didn't work out for like 2 months.
Against who though?
Against who?
Like your weight class?
Or... Yeah, like my weight class against, let's say, let's just say against guys that spar in the gym, but maybe are not. They could box, but they don't box. You understand what I'm saying? They could box, but they don't. They just spar in the gym because it's something they've been doing all their life, or they used to box and they still just like to spar in the gym. I can spar like 3 rounds for those kind of guys, more likely. But
because I can spar a kid for like 12 rounds, bro.
Huh?
I can spar a kid for like 12 rounds, bro. Like a kid, like a 5-year-old.
Well, no. I mean, of course. I mean, listen. It depends on who, but if you're talking about like somebody that can give you a fight, right? Somebody who's going to actually give you a fight. How long can you do it for? To train for that kind of, in other words, so the question was to train for that type of stamina for 3 rounds. I wouldn't know how to do that.
My technique is straight up punching the bag for hours on end.
I could probably do on a I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying I could do it at a drop of a dime. Like I could do that. It's something I've been doing for a long time, so it's not.
That's insane,
hard.
man.
But further than 3 rounds, that's going to take training. That's going to take some training to do.
Yeah, because
build stamina.
But can you go 3 rounds because you're experienced and you know how to control the pace of the fight with whoever you're sparring, or is it because you got that great stamina?
I don't know if my stamina is great. I guess it is. Maybe it is great, right? I mean, I'm in my not my late 40s. So my stamina is probably not as good as it used to be, but I think it's still good enough to go 3. To go 3 rounds with somebody who's he's at least as equal as me, give or take, right? I can definitely probably do 3 hard rounds. And then, of course, it would take, after 3 rounds, I would say I would have to prepare, get into training to go further than that.
Now, when you say rounds, you mean 1-minute rounds or 3-minute rounds?
3-minute rounds. Yeah, 3 minutes. I could still do at least 3 rounds, I would say.
Yeah, I used to know a guy in the gym. He would disappear for months. I mean, he was a pretty experienced guy at the amateur level. He would disappear for months, and then he would come back, and the second day back, he would spar. He would spar 3 good rounds, and obviously he wouldn't go as hard as he did before, when he was training regularly. But he could go 3 rounds and really exchange and all that, and he would slow down at the end, but I was again, it depends on who you're sparring, it depends on your experience level. And I don't know if he was training in between. I mean, because sometimes when you jog and all that, it can make a difference. People in the chat room are saying a high intensity interval training is good. Mitts, says Chris Gonzalez. The Fox Strike says, in terms of stamina, interval sprints and jogs. Interval sprints are pretty good, but it's also interesting. Some people have to work different things. I remember prior to the Pacquiao fight, they asked Algieri, who's a gym freak, he's a workout freak, and they asked him, "Do you run a lot or something?" He says, "Well, he says because of his physiology, that the way his body is shaped, he can run for hours and hours." He says what he really needs, though, to counterbalance that are the sprints, because he doesn't really need to jog all that much. It doesn't really take that much out of him. So I guess, in other words, the answer to that would be depends on what type of body you have and what your weaknesses are.
Yeah, it goes like,
That's
see,
basically what
I'm
Bruce
a
Lee said.
long person. I'm a very, like, pretty long arms and tall, and so it's different. Like, I guess past, if I start running, let's say if I start running more than, um, let's say a mile and a half, right? I start running more than a mile and a half. That's when, if I haven't done it in a while, that's when it's gonna start kicking in. Now I don't know if somebody else is different. I don't know if it's
Speed
because I'm longer. You know what I'm
speed
saying? That,
running or pace running?
like, pace running. No, speed running is different. That's just totally different. Um, but yeah, if you go a mile and a half, like, at least for me, if I go a mile and a half, that's when I start noticing if I start noticing pretty fast whether or not I can go, if I can go further than that, or how many miles exactly I could go, because of the lack of training, or the lack of doing it, routine that was used to doing. So everybody's different. The body's different. Body sizes are different. The
Yeah,
way
that's
you're
true.
built,
Absolutely true.
how much training you have in the past of doing that.
Yeah, because I remember James Stoney, again, going back to him, when he was the overweight heavyweight James Stoney, he wouldn't even do any road work. He was just sparring. And on the one hand, it worked for him because he was so good and so slippery inside the ring. On the other hand, you could tell that there were certain fights, like the first Rahman fight, or the first Peter fight. He was a little bit of, he needed to push himself, and he couldn't do it because he didn't have that stamina base to help him out. Like, I think it hurt him at that point that he wasn't doing any road work. So you gotta
I
get
hate
that road
running.
work.
I
James
hate running.
Toney was a guy that I could tell definitely didn't run. He didn't. He was just an excellent uh, gym war, boxing dude that could just go in there. You can't explain it unless you're just him. And you're like, what the fuck? He could just do this all day.
Right.
Like, he's one of those kind of guys. You just don't get it. You're just like, this guy could do this all day long. But in a real life situation where he's fighting guys that are top athletes, you know, that's when it becomes, like you said, you can see when stamina starts kicking in, and I thought that he, like Lebedev, when he fought Lebedev, remember that fight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought he. There was moments he was like, "Man, I'm so undertrained. I'm not fucking with this guy. This guy's gonna beat me." He looked like he had that face. Like, there's no way I'm winning this fight.
How did he lose so much weight then? Did you think he just ate right for that fight and that's why he lost all the weight?
Um, the losing weight thing, I'm not really like experienced at that. But the only thing I could think of for him, um, it's probably always last minute thing,
Hmm.
you know. And then you add that, and then he doesn't. He's not a person that jogs and takes care of his body. You take that combination together, and he's due to have bad nights. The boxing instinct, the boxing instinct. I don't think that's something he could ever lose. But when it comes to that stamina, I've seen him plenty of times where I've said to myself, "This is a dude that will fuck you up all the time in a sparring session." right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to boxing at the highest level, he's gonna have a lot of success. But when he meets like the top of the best, that's where he's always gonna run into issues. And you can see that in several fights.
Mhm.
And that's the lack of training. You know, the lack of disciplining himself to make certain weights. Um, the lack of I guess the two go hand in hand. Jogging. You gotta jog. You gotta do some running in order to build stamina.
Right. Well, it's a little bit of you have to do both things because I mean think about it when you're boxing, depending on the type of hand speed you have as well, you have to explode, right? So you have to explode with your punches. So that's taking away the what do they call it? I always confuse the anaerobic and aerobic. So anaerobic, I believe, is when you explode, right? Like that quick burst of energy that you're using. Whereas when you're jogging, it's more of a soft pace. But the jogging, what it does is it gets your legs conditioned to go on for a long haul, and it also can.
Running is good, but it's very tiring and annoying. After like with me at the army, every week we were running like 5 miles twice, or more. It was ridiculous for like 2 years straight.
But wait, were you in the regular army? Like, first of all, were you U.S. Army or?
US Army, yeah.
And it was regular army.
Yeah, artillery unit.
So how much were you running? You said 5 miles a day.
5 miles. Sometimes every other day was 2 miles. Not well, actually every day we're running, so it's 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Mondays 5 miles, Fridays 5 miles, and then
And
all the rest goes with it.
Was that in the morning or?
In the morning, like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's.
I just said, fuck that shit, man.
Now, how many push-ups do you think you did in your entire time in the army?
The max I hit nonstop was like 135.
Whoa! Okay, you did 135 push-ups in a row?
Yeah, nonstop.
And you're doing them well. Like you're not doing like half the.
Yeah, I'm going all the way back up.
Jeez, Luis, that's amazing, man.
So many, it's ridiculous.
So at some point it doesn't even become that hard. Like if a guy goes, "Hey, drop and give me 20," you're like, "Fuck, yeah, all right, I'll give you 20."
When I was doing the boxing thing, when I was doing the boxing thing, it was like 200 before you even get to the ring.
Jeez, Louis. Yeah, push-ups are the best, man. I always tell people, because I don't know if this is just pseudoscience that I'm spouting here or whatever, but I feel like if you're not doing push-ups and you're a boxer, you're gonna kind of lack something in your punching power. Unless you're a natural power punching guy, you gotta do your push-ups, man.
Yeah, push-ups are good for building strength and
muscle endurance.
Mm-hmm.
So you can punch hard in the 12th round.
Exactly. Any type of calisthenic, pull-ups, push-ups, dips.
4 rounds. I did like only 4 rounds. That's the max. But the tournaments were like 3 rounds.
The tournament. Oh yeah. If
BDA,
you fight,
I don't think you remember the Mayweather McGregor fight very well.
You're watching it now.
Mayweather went through I just watched the first. I'm hearing myself. Why is that?
I don't know. That happens sometimes. Like every once in a while, there's an echo. I never hear
Mayweather went to the body all night. His most successful punch was the right hand to the body and groin.
Whatever happened with that Conor landing that 9th round? Was it 9th? I can't remember. Was it 6th or 7th? I don't remember.
Uppercut?
It was not the uppercut. That was the first round, I think.
There was one round in the 4th or 5th where he landed left, right, left on Mayweather's chin, and Mayweather just walked right through it.
Yeah, man.
If Conor McGregor had punching power, he would have knocked Floyd his ass out. How do you land?
He hit him somewhere in the low area, the crotch area, like
Mayweather was blatantly like loading up and hitting him on the grain right in front of the referee, blatantly.
Man,
I haven't rewatched this shit, so I don't know.
He gassed. He beat his body up and his groin, and McGregor gassed because McGregor was schooling him. He won the first 4 rounds clearly. You couldn't give any of the first 4 rounds to Mayweather, and then the fight became close.
Listen,
he was schooling his ass.
Those body punches that he was throwing.
He was Lomachenkoing his ass. Like he was doing the type of stuff you'd expect.
I'm
not kidding.
I think you are kidding, man. I don't think he was Lomachenko.
No, watch the damn fight, man. He was
pulling his glove down and landing the left hand, or trying to. He was stepping around him. He was pivoting. Yeah, he was doing Lomachenko. Obviously not on the same level, but he was pulling the same moves, and Mayweather didn't know what the fuck to do.
All right, here's the thing.
Would school Mayweather, absolutely school his ass.
Here's the thing. Now we got another fight that we have to watch together. We have to watch the Postal Terence Crawford fight and score it at the same time. We have to watch the Mayweather Pacquiao, and now we have to watch Mayweather McGregor fight. Now listen, I will say this. That the first 3-4 rounds were closer than they should have been. Mayweather McGregor.
First 4 rounds?
Yeah.
Mayweather didn't land. He landed 3 punches in the first 2 rounds.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like he
couldn't land anything. It wasn't close. Mayweather was getting schooled, bro.
But here's the thing.
Close.
But here's the thing. Here's my contention was that Mayweather wasn't really even trying, because yes, he was landing that straight right to the body, and as somebody said in the chat, that is a power punch. But I'm saying is I've seen him go to the body even better against professional boxers.
But you got to give credit to McGregor, because McGregor was moving. He had the dominant foot position. He was outside of Mayweather's range. He was controlling him with the jab. He was landing the left hand on him. Like, Mayweather couldn't do anything with this guy.
I remember,
only after McGregor tired did Mayweather kept coming forward, and he broke him down. Don't get me wrong, he did break him down, but he was getting schooled. It wasn't even a close fight.
I don't know about schooled, man. I think you're exaggerating a little bit there with the use of the word.
I'm watching the fight from the arena when people have a camera and they upload it to YouTube. Mayweather landed 3 punches in the first 2 rounds, bro.
Dude, you know it's funny that you say that, Precise. My brother to this day, and I call him a fanboy of Cotto, but he swears by it. He's like, dude, the fight that I watched of him and Mayweather, because he went to Vegas to go watch that damn fight, and he said he lost, bro. He lost hands down.
No,
he said,
I could see a fanboy saying that, but to me, Cotto won 5 rounds and maybe 6. You guys are just too influenced by commentators, or I don't know what it is.
I didn't watch with a commentator.
BDA, have you noticed that Conor also won the 8th round? If that was the case, how the hell did he win the 8th round? In my eyes, he won the 8th or something like that. In between, if that was the case, if he was just playing with him, why did he? And he said he was going to knock his ass out in the first 4 rounds.
Mayweather wasn't playing.
Look,
he was trying to knock his ass out. He just couldn't get close to him.
Well, he did get close.
The distance.
There was a shitload of clinching in there, and Mayweather, he knows how to work on the inside, and I didn't see
He was grabbing Conor McGregor. Mayweather was grabbing McGregor. He was coming inside, grabbing a hold of him, elbowing him, hitting him, but like way below the belt.
He
got hurt. And McGregor, he just hurt his ass and backed him up and threw. Man, he was schooling his ass. You guys need to start watching these fights, man. What's up?
Did you notice that punch that I was talking about, the 7th or 8th round, where he was like crouching
rocked him into the ropes?
Yeah, he got it. He was like holding his nutsack or something. I thought he hurt him in the nuts or something. I'm not sure if it was below the waist, below the belt or not. That's what I was asking. Because you're watching the replay. I don't remember.
McGregor just looked awkward in that ring as a boxer.
Floyd couldn't touch him, man. He was swinging wild, like he couldn't hit him.
Well, the thing is, going upstairs was kind of hard for Mayweather because of the size difference.
It seemed like to me it was like a low blow for him.
But listen, McGregor was he had Mayweather? That long. No,
from Conor, that one shot that he made him crouch over and the referee came in.
No, I just saw it. It was a good punch. He hurt Mayweather, and then Bird stepped in and stopped the action, just like Wilder.
Fucking Bird, man.
Yeah, Robert Byrd was doing something. He wasn't even he was there just to watch the fight. He wasn't there to referee. But the thing about Mayweather getting schooled, I disagree with the getting schooled. The way this is my perception of the fight. I could be wrong, obviously, but it seemed to me like Mayweather knew McGregor was gonna get tired. He knew it was a certainty, and he wasn't even really pushing it that hard. Now, as to Boxing Style's question of why he lost the 8th round. I don't know, maybe McGregor had a second win and Mayweather was just toying with him. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, it looked like a sparring session. It looked like the more experienced fighter sparring against the less experienced fighter, and he knew it was just a matter of time before he got tired. But again, it was a fight that shouldn't even have happened, and the fact that McGregor was able to do as well as he did, I don't know if that says bad things about Mayweather or if that says good things about McGregor or if it was a size difference. I don't know, but it was a bizarre
Mayweather's
fight.
old, bro. He's 40 years old.
That too. And by the way, did you the shape
I
that
don't know
Mayweather?
about that, honestly. I can't say that, man. He's a roided freak, so I can't say the fact that he's. I saw Vitor Belfort when he was roided up and it's like 38 years old, and he did better than when he was younger.
Mhm.
So, like, I can't say that, man. I really can't
Yeah,
say.
but he doesn't have the legs though. Like roids don't give you the
Exactly.
legs.
Exactly. That's a
He
good
doesn't
point.
have the legs anymore.
I don't know what kind of roids are taking. I never took roids, so.
Oh, you should.
He's
They're
taking
great.
EPO, HGH, all the best, most expensive shit, hardest to detect. For sure,
Yeah.
EPO and HGH is like maybe some clan too.
I'll say it again. You look at Mayweather in 2006 when he started campaigning at welterweight, and then you look at him in the McGregor fight, and he was ripped. He looked in better shape than he did in 2006. How the fuck does somebody do that? I'll keep asking that question until somebody gives me a
We know
good
what he's
answer.
doing. I mean, it's obvious. He's
I
already.
think the
he's
best Floyd I've seen was with Canelo. That's the best Floyd I've ever seen.
Right, right.
Yeah, when he admitted to basically admitted to blood doping. He's so stupid. I don't think he realized what he was saying.
I don't think. I think he does it a lot of the time.
He got too much power without him.
It was a shot boxing style. It was a shot right on the belt. I don't know if Mayweather was trying to sell it or whatnot, but he buckled and he went into the ropes. It was right on the belt.
So I was right about this. I think he would have been able to knock his ass out. I should have won that 300, man. They fucking robbed me.
McGregor did well. He did very well. He's not a boxer.
Yeah,
And
he should.
Mayweather's old, man. I don't care how roided up he is. He's not pretty boy. He hasn't been pretty boy for like 7-8 years, man.
You think he should have stuck to that nickname instead of changing it to Money?
I don't think it would have made a difference.
No, but I'm saying in terms of promotion.
No, because he was a different fighter, so it made sense, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I suppose it could be seen as that whole Money persona really catapulted.
Well, he became a safety first guy, right? Because he didn't want to lose his marketability. So it fit. It was befitting.
I tell you what, though, when you mentioned that he doesn't know how to fight going forward, call me a dumbass, but prior to the Pacquiao fight, I thought he was going to try to walk Pacquiao down at some point during the fight. I really did.
And he paid for it right away.
Yeah. Pacquiao was beating his ass when he came forward. He was countering his ass and hurting him.
That's why I say he lost that fight.
Of course he did.
He lost the fight. He tried to walk him down in the fourth round. He tried it a little bit to be, the best he could do it, and he got countered with that straight left.
Pacquiao's a better counterpuncher, man. He's a better offensive fighter, and he's a better.
I don't know, man. I could say that Mayweather won that fight by like a round or something. It was close, but I don't want to argue with that shit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're not going to go down that road again.
No one's arguing, man. We just have an opinion. No one's arguing. I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion. I know what I saw.
Precise.
I thought Jeff Horn won that fight, but then again, when I rewatched it, and I was giving you a hard time with that shit, I was like, dude, there's so many punches that Pacquiao's landing over here that I did not see because I was watching it like horrible streaming. And I didn't catch a lot of punches that Pacquiao landed. I was like, oh, I got to take my word back over
Unless
here.
I watch a fight multiple times and very carefully, I don't have a strong opinion ever about a fight unless I do that. So when I have an opinion about a fight, like I watched it a whole bunch of times and I know what I saw. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I just know what I saw.
You're trying to brainwash us. You're trying to brainwash us to join your cult down there south of the equator.
Make a highlight, bro. Make a highlight of Mayweather coming forward against Pacquiao. Make a highlight every time he came forward. Just do that, and you'll see what happened.
I do remember.
It's not that hard, man.
I do remember there was a point where I don't know, maybe I'm getting it wrong, where Mayweather put his hands up, the way he did against Judah, and Pacquiao just weaved under him. And I said, holy shit, if Mayweather tries to walk him down, it's not going to be easy. And then, boom, he stopped trying to walk Pacquiao down. So, yeah, it would have been a bad idea for him to try to walk Pacquiao down. Because here's the thing, with Pacquiao, if you put your hands up in front of him, he's just going to dart all around you. Like, it's an easy target. So Mayweather played it safe. He went into the defensive just like he did against Maidan in the second fight and against Guerrero. And he just wanted to land that one punch, get out of the way, And hey, it's boxing. He did what he had to, but when you're getting paid 100 million, I don't know. How about trying to put together a combination or something? You know.
When I was watching a fight, I was drinking so much that every time Pacquiao did something, because I wanted Mayweather to lose, I started Mayweather, and every time Pacquiao did something, I was like, oh yeah, but a lot of times there was nothing special going on because I was talking left and right, so I didn't really watch the fight. Then I rewatched it, bad stream again, but yeah, it's all right. I kind of gave it to Mayweather as the later rounds was going. I noticed that Mayweather was taking it, but I could be wrong, man. I mean, I've been wrong before.
That's
You know what? I don't have a problem with somebody's like difference of opinion, and just the only thing that gets to me is when I hear things like Mayweather schooled Pacquiao, he destroyed him. I'm like, come on, man. That means the fight was exciting. That's when you're somebody's putting on a masterful performance. That's exciting to watch, even if it's not competitive. This fight wasn't exciting. It wasn't because of Pacquiao. Pacquiao tried to make the fight. Floyd had no interest in making a fight. He did in the beginning. Notice that every time he was anytime he tried to attempt to come forward, he was getting counterpunched. And I think if anybody looks back at it, just pay attention to Mayweather as he's trying to come forward and see what Pacquiao does. And you will see that after the first 6 rounds, he had no interest in even trying to attempt that again.
Pacquiao shut him down. Mayweather bragged about his inside game before the fight. He was saying how he's going to take the fight to the inside and stomp Pacquiao on the inside, blah, blah, blah. But then when it came down to it, he didn't want to fight Pacquiao on the inside because he couldn't do it. Pacquiao shut his ass down, man. Like, to win the fight, you got to land punches. And Mayweather had a hell of a time landing punches. And you show me moments where Mayweather hits Pacquiao and Pacquiao reels back into the ropes or covers up. Because I could show you 7 or 8 moments where Pacquiao did that to Mayweather. So,
Fourth round,
I mean,
primarily.
I think
I don't remember that fourth round, man. That fourth round, that was the best.
He had them all on the ropes all night in spots. Right? Mayweather was running, moving away, but Mayweather wasn't putting Pacquiao on the ropes. Pacquiao was putting his ass on the ropes. How the fuck do you win the fight? Just moving away and not landing your jab even. Like Pacquiao took away his right hand. Mayweather was like slapping.
All the casuals around me. All the casuals around me were saying Mayweather schooled him, but then when I rewatched it, I'm like, this was a pretty close fight. But in my opinion,
casuals score slaps. When the wrist lands on the ear, they score that. That's not a scoring blow. And Mayweather was slapping a lot. Like, I didn't score. There may be like 2 left hooks that Mayweather landed on Pacquiao that were scoring blows. Like, people just don't know what scoring punches are, or they need prescription, or I don't know. I watch fights sober. That's all I'm saying. I watch fights sober, and I pay attention. So,
there you go. Precise is keeping up with the
people in
anti-drug
general, they
BDA.
they get drunk and they party. They don't watch boxing. Give me a break.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm glad you mentioned that watching sober. Let me tell you something. This is a drug-free program because there's a lot of kids watching, especially now at 1:46 p.m. here in Canada. So
family show. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
It's a family show, absolutely, and I don't want to hear anything.
Sober is not the right word. I should have said not drunk.
Now, hold on a second. Don't backtrack now, because you're gonna give us a bad look here, a bad image. But just a final note on the Mayweather Pacquiao thing. I agree with Recognize the Matrix. He had first recognize you had Pacquiao winning, or you had Mayweather winning.
No, I had Pacquiao. I thought Pacquiao won the fight. I wasn't really scoring it like that. I'm just looking at the fight itself. Mayweather never did anything that said to me he's in control of the fight. He's winning the fight. If you call running away from punches controlling the fight, then okay, if you're that type of person, I guess he won the fight. That's the way I saw it. I saw the person who was making the fight, the person who was landing combinations, not a lot, because it's hard to land combinations when a guy's running from you, okay? And holding you. The only time he's not running from you, he's holding you. Mayweather didn't land a single combination that was the highlight of the fight. You got to what combination punching did he land that you could say, aha, that's the highlight of the fight. You know, he didn't do that. The highlights belong. The best parts of that fight was when he hurt Pacquiao. Rather, Pacquiao hurt him in the 4th round, and he landed it's like 7 punches in a row, at least that.
Well,
Before Mayweather ever threw a punch back. I mean, go look at that 4th round. I mean, he landed like 7 punches.
Oh yeah, when he had him covered up, yeah.
Yeah, but BDA, he was piercing through his guard. He was punching around his guard. He was landing
to the
punches.
body.
Yeah, but they don't count that, don't they?
I mean, you're supposed to count that.
Yeah, they don't count it though.
I will say this. I wanted to touch on the point that you had made earlier, which was that, first of all, I had Mayweather winning, but like you said, it wasn't a schooling. You know what I mean? It was a fencing match. It was an amateur fight stretched out throughout 12 rounds. It was one guy.
I wouldn't say amateur though. That's too much.
No, but in the sense that you know how they fight in the amateurs, which is in and out, in and out, in and out. There's no barely any inside punching. There's flurrying, get out of the way, just do the bare minimum to get that point in and get that with the decision. And that was what Mayweather was doing. He did a good job defensively, I thought. I know you guys are going to disagree with me. Pacquiao wasn't getting lit up by anything.
The shots that Pacquiao landed when I saw Arturo Gaudi's video, I could not spot that at that live time, man. It was too fast, bro.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, I can see the argument of, hey, if you slow the fight down, you can see Pacquiao winning. But then again, how far do you want to take that? You know what I mean? Like, the judge can't see the fight in slow motion, and everybody's.
I had it a draw live. When I watched it live, I had it 6-6.
When I watched it live, I had it 7-5 Pacquiao. I wasn't really scoring, but I was like, you know what? If I had to say who won the most rounds, not by a whole lot, I would just say it's that guy, the little Asian dude, fucking throwing punches.
The little Chinese dude, yeah.
And making the fight. That little Asian dude right there, yeah, he was making the whole fight.
I saw that fool in Dallas stadium. Jesus, man, that fool was small, bro. Like, he is so small. But it was, I was from far away, though. I didn't really get close up to him.
All right, so there you go. I mean, we got to watch that fight. We got to do a BDA live. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I mean, I don't know if you guys can do it tomorrow, but, we should get ahead a schedule and say, listen, this day we're going to all watch the fight at the same time. We're going to have a clock on the screen so that we're all in the same round, same time. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. All right? Bring a couple of...
I still say this, BDA. One more thing about that. About Pacquiao.
Yeah.
To this day, as fighting as a welterweight, I never saw a big welterweight give Pacquiao punching problems. Never.
All right. Well, there you go. That's Regular the Matrix's take on that.
I still say Lomo schools Pacquiao, though. That's just me.
All right. Well, we'll leave that comment. I mean, that subject for tomorrow. We do have to end this now. First of all, I gotta thank you guys again for always showing up with the good stuff here. I didn't even know what we were gonna. I had a couple of subjects lined up because I didn't know what we were gonna talk about. But you guys sure know how to. We go from one subject to the other, and we end up getting a riveting conversation. So I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you again for your service to your country and to the BDA organization. I'm just talking out of my ass here. But yeah, listen, we're gonna be back tomorrow for the regular midweek podcast. I want to thank everybody in the chat room as well. I'm a little pressed for time here, so shout out to everybody that was in the chat room. Shout out to everybody that was listening. You guys gave us some very interesting comments, man, regarding the.
Nice talking to all you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Boxing Style as well, man. Come back anytime.
Peace, everybody.
All right, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to BDA and BDA Live. Hit that notification button, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care.